everyone. Good to see your faces. Awesome. We've got an exciting day planned. Hi, everybody. So let's open it up, guys. We're opening the room up early today. We've got a little pre-party going on. My name is Lori Dufresne. If I have not met you, welcome. I think we got a couple birthdays in the house, April and Janet. Happy birthday. Love you guys. Okay, let's open it up for some wins, guys. Who is winning right now? What have you guys learned from putting those rocks in your calendar? Does anyone have some big takeaways that they're experiencing right now? Anybody want to jump in?
I'll go since everybody's just a little shy this morning.
Okay.
So I've been coaching about, over a year and a half now, and I have my schedule, I go and adjust it, every once in a while, because as you grow, you have to shift things over to make more time anyway, I was just so grateful for that call because it allowed me to pause and reset again. And there were little tiny shifts, but I feel so much more in control of my schedule. So for anybody who just isn't sure how to make that time, or just putting those rocks in your schedule, just the small adjustments make such a huge change. And so if our dial changes 1 degree, by the end of the year, we've got 12. So just want to tell you that I appreciate the training. And so for anybody who needs to go back, please do.
I love it. Thank you. And we're always shifting, you guys. Like, that's what's really important, is we're taking that week by week and day by day sometimes as we're making those shifts. So awesome. Thank you for that share. I know we're early, guys, so send a reminder, to your coaches. If you guys want to send a quick reminder to everybody to jump on, that in case they didn't see the little notice there that we were going to be meeting for the pre-party. We're going to give direction because we got a couple different trainings going today. So we'll give direction here in a little bit of but we're going to have everyone join into this room for right now. And we're going to keep moving on with some wins. So who else
had her hand up, Lori?
Who did?
Janine.
Oh, Janine. Go for it, girl.
Hey, team. I always go back to this, the rocks in the schedule are so important. And, for those of us that are still dealing with a full-time job, it's still really important to hit those every day. And what I've been doing is at the end of the day, I look at those rocks and I make sure that I hit all of those, and I did all of them. And one of the things that I learned yesterday was it's so important. And sometimes you think, oh, I can let that communication go, or I can let that go. And then you never know who's watching you consistently, right? And I had a friend call me from like 30 years ago from undergrad, who, I didn't know. And she had been watching me. She had been watching my posts. And we had a conversation on Zoom yesterday where she was like in tears going, I have a family history of diabetes, just like me, and I don't know what to do. And I just want somebody to tell me what to do. And I think to myself, with those rocks and how, it's hard, those of us that are still working full time and building our businesses on the side, sometimes it's hard to keep consistent. You just have to make yourself do it, even on days when you don't feel like doing it, because it just works, it just works. And being out there and sharing and caring and sharing and caring each time, no matter what, definitely reaches people that you don't know are watching you. So that's all I wanted to say.
I love it. That's beautiful, Janine. And it's so nice just seeing like where you were when you started. You're super busy, had so much going on, but seeing the growth in you and the freedoms, and it's like leading from that future self. So when you guys are listening to some people that are coming on with these big wins and really understanding that we've all had those messy seasons. We've all had those very busy seasons. But what we want to do is kind of project in the future, like for the life that you're creating. So if you always keep that, when you're hearing these people speaking, really know that everybody's gone through that messy season. It's the juggling, but there's so much growth on the other side of that. So I love it. Thank you, Janine. Let's do another one.
Hey, I have a win.
Okay, let's go, Lisa.
Okay, so for me, this has been really good because I'm pretty much scattered and all over the place. And so I will, if I don't have these in my schedule, these rocks, I'll find anything else to do. It's like, and they're non-productive. So the rocks in the schedule make me focused, and they help keep me on track of the meetings, just putting in when to put my stuff into, my Facebook page, and it's like people go, you know, 3 times a day. I don't know if I can remember. Put it in your schedule. It takes, you know, a minute to do, but everything, for me, if I just put it in my schedule, it's so freeing of me and my scatteredness, and it keeps me more on track. And it just has really helped me, because it's like it's just laid out right there. And really, we all have the same amount of time in the day, and it's how we use it. Be productive, and this calendar and the rocks in your schedule really help me be productive with my time and my all overness, because I really am scattered, and so it really helps me.
Awesome. Awesome. And you know what's cool, guys, is if you treat it like a doctor appointment, or if you treat it like a hair appointment, that you're like, oh no, I'm not canceling that, you know, honor those commitments to yourself. And then you have to think about it and say, well, why is a hair appointment or a nail appointment more important than my life? Like, you know, so the commitments that you put in your calendar, if you put them in there and you do the time blocking and they're actually there, but you have to honor them. You know, you got to honor those client support calls and the health assessments and the follow-up calls. If you honor them, it will happen, right? So if you don't, free for all, we're leaving our business to chance. So anyway, I'm going to dive in, you guys. I could do wins all day long, but I'm going to lay out a little bit about what we're doing. Let me pull up my slide here really quick. And let's see. Oh my goodness gracious. Where is my big screen? Oh, hold on. Was I already sharing? I think I was already sharing. Okay, gotta love it. Good morning, right? Okay, if you're just joining us, you guys, we're gonna do things a little bit differently today, because Dan Bell is doing an unbelievable training. Now, this is gonna be for executive directors and above, okay? So if you're an executive director and above, you're gonna stay right here in this room, because what we're going to do is go ahead and share our screen. We're going to be able to all watch it together, because we love being together in community. We can blow up the chat with our takeaways. We can get to do this all together. Okay. So again, right here, executive directors and above are going to stay right here for Dan Bell's training. Now, guys, he's going to be talking about building a $1 million business, building and creating wealth in your business. It's probably going to go about 90 minutes to 2 hours. So just so you do know that, I would highly recommend you guys seeing if you could rearrange your schedule. If you didn't know it's going to be that long, do all that you can to be here, because to be able to sit at this man's feet, he is going to just blow our minds today. And I've seen and heard a little bit about what he's going to be doing, and it's going to be fantastic. So Brad Miller is going to be, as well as Terry Miller, they're going to be hosting with Dan today. So anyway, so just stay here. Now, if you are not yet, and I'm saying yet, not yet an executive director, because we know that that's coming, you're going to go to our Foundations of Coaching Facebook page. And we're going to drop, if somebody could drop that link in the chat, if you're not already on there, we'll make sure that you guys get approved. Okay. So that's going to be for our series that we're doing right here in the Brash team. And I'm going to turn it over to Sunny Kane and Jen Spohr, because they have done an amazing video for you to watch. And this is what the video looks like. This video is going to be posted in that page at 8 o'clock sharp. Okay, so again, if you're not yet an executive director, you will be going to the Facebook page. We're going to have the link there in the chat. And then Sunny and Jen, will you guys just jump off here and just share a little bit about what that video is going to be about and what they can expect?
Sure. I'm so excited. I love what you said. They're not yet executive directors. We fully believe, and we know from experience, that it's completely possible for you to go executive director this month. So Jen and I got the opportunity to sit and chat. We've been working together for quite a while now. And we share a little bit of our story this morning, but also we remember, like, okay, what are some of the actions that I should take if I want to be executive director? Just kind of that, like, okay, so you've set aside this hour this morning to be on this training. So we're doing a shortened version of a little video for you to watch. And then we're encouraging you to set the rest of that time aside to actually go into the actions that we talk about on the call. Now, what I want to tell you is, I know that sometimes as we're getting going on social media and doing some of these actions, sometimes we hear from a lot of coaches that people feel like, how do I not be all advertising and spammy or weird on social media? And we know what that feels like. So Jen and I are actually breaking down the authentic conversations, the way to tap into who you are and let your light shine as the magnificent person that you are, not who Lori Dufresne is or Brad Miller is, but who you are. So jump over there and you're going to love that video. And Jen did an awesome piece as well on authentic conversations. Jen, I'll hand that to you.
Yeah, absolutely, Sunny. I love that you said we did a short version. Okay, Sunny and I, we got a lot of words. All right, we love to talk. So Lori and Brad asked us if we would do a 10 to 15 minute little segment, and it ended up being like, I don't know, I think 30 minutes. Okay, because we just get into it, and we love to share what's working. And honestly, I've had a couple experiences lately, specifically with a brand new Facebook friend that I didn't know, and how I started communicating with her on Messenger and how I led it to the phone. And now she's a brand new client. I actually did my celebration call with her this morning before this call. And so I explained what that conversation looked like so that you can really see that I was being interested in her. I wasn't trying to be interesting. I was interested in her and in her dog and all these other things. And I show you specifically. And then I share a story about DMV and how I just dove in with this lady at DMV. And I was just sharing the light. I was being the hope, right? And that's what this is all about. I love that Sunny said it's not about advertising Optavia, right? Although I am today with my shirt, but it's really about just loving people and meeting them exactly where they are. And so we really kind of get into the details of what that looks like and how to do this thing. And so that's the essence of what our video is. And I hope it brings value to you. We do have some action steps in there. So yes, it might be 30 minutes, but then the other 30 minutes, make sure you take that to just like get into massive action on sending the messages and doing the things. That's a great use of your Saturday morning. So I hope it brings value.
I love it. I love it, ladies. Thank you for doing that. And I highly encourage you, like they said, you guys put this rock in your calendar already. So I would highly recommend listening. These ladies have been coaching for what? How many years, ladies? 4.
Yeah.
Yep. So 4 years. So 4 years of wisdom. They are very, very good at what they do. Authenticity is exactly who they are. So I think that's an area that when people get out of their head and into their heart and truly find your voice, that's where things really start changing. So that video is going to be put in there in about 2 minutes. So what we can do right now, so we can all get prepped for Dan Bell, we're going to go and ask if you are not executive director yet, if you would like to jump out of this room and you can go into the Foundations of Coaching page. Again, that link is there. If somebody wants to pop it in there one more time for me, that would be amazing. Perfect. Thank you, Denise. So that you guys can click on that link so you can leave this room and go pop into that, go watch Sunny and Jen's awesome video. And we will put the action steps there in the comments. Actually, I need to do, Sunny, if you could do that for me, that would be amazing. Your action step slides in the comments on the video. It should be popped in there in about a minute. And then if you are executive director or above, let's stay put. Frank Heinrich is going to live stream that, or not live stream, but share a screen here in a couple minutes once that goes up. I do believe, are you guys proud of me? I'm like, these logistics and enough, I'm like, I've never done one like this before. Okay, I'm proud of me. I'm like, wow. Okay, I think there was a document that Terry just posted for all of us executive directors and above. If we could pop that link in the group, I don't know, I just got a message saying that something just came out for us to have printed out. So maybe we can get ourselves ground and centered. If someone wants to put that in the chat, we can make sure we all have that. And then we're going to get started here in a minute as soon as we're live. You guys got your notebooks, get comfortable, go fill up your drink real quick, because we are going to be just, you know, Dan Bell. Nothing more needs to be said there. He's an amazing mastermind at this. So if you are joining us right now and you are not an executive director and above, we're going to ask you to go into the Foundation of Coaching page on Facebook, and we've got a video there for you. I'm going to actually just share my screen until we are live so people can see that. And then Frank, just let me know when they're live, and then we're going to go ahead and start we'll have you share your screen. You can just come off mute and let me know when that is. I'm going to keep this up for anybody that is just joining us right now. Denise, am I forgetting anything?
Yep,
Lori,
absolutely perfect. So
Lori, there's a lot of people just coming in, so maybe you want to repeat if they're not yet executive director, what to do.
Okay, here we go. So, and you guys can see my screen here. If you are not yet executive director, you're going to go to the Facebook page, Foundations of Coaching, and you're going to watch this video that Jen and Sunny put together for you. There will be action steps in the comments. If we are just going to be in this Zoom room for executive directors and above, we are going to be watching Dan Bell's training. So just one more time, sorry guys, broken record for people that are popping in. If you are not yet executive director, you're going to go to the Facebook page, Foundations of Coaching, and watch this video. And I'll keep this up. So Frank, let me know when they're live. Let's take a second here and
So Lori, we have some more people popping on. So anybody who is health coach up to director will now jump over to the and watch the video in the Foundations group.
yes.
And then executive directors will stay here for the advanced training with Dan Bell.
Thank you, Denise. A new voice is always more refreshing to everyone else that has had to hear me say that 10 times. Awesome. Okay. Are they up yet, Frank? Not yet? Okay. So we'll just get ourselves settled. Anybody else want to repeat this? Anyone want to come off and give this practice?
You guys make sure that any of your executive directors or above.
Result of the girls long jump top 8 finalists.
Oops.
Lori,
I was-
I just want to say right quick, if people aren't in that transformation group yet, the admins need to let people in because they're not able to go to that Facebook page because it says they need admin approval.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
Carla, I'm an admin. There's only 4 people waiting. But make sure that you have to answer the questions. But there's only 4 people waiting.
Yeah, because it says hasn't answered membership questions.
You know what? I'm putting them in because that
Okay,
way they
they
can
can
at least-
listen.
they're trying to go in. So I got them in.
Okay, perfect. All right, we'll get started here hopefully in a second. I'd like to say we can do another takeaway, but then I'm gonna have to interrupt you if Dan Bell starts talking. So if anyone else wants to do a takeaway, and then once Frank shares screen, we'll stop talking. How about that? Who wants to go?
We actually have a whole crew of people who just popped in again.
Oh, we did. Okay, Sunny, would you like to take it away?
Yes. Well, good morning, everyone. If you're just now joining us, we'd like you to know that this morning, if you have not yet reached executive director, again, that is not yet. We have a special video for you that is in the Foundations of Coaching, the 6 weeks Foundations of Coaching group this morning. So we're actually going to ask you to pop off, go into that group and watch the video there. And for the rest of you that are executive directors and above, stay in here. We're going to be live streaming that call with Dan Bell right through this room very soon here.
Awesome. Thank you, Sunny. Jen, you'll take the next one in about 2 minutes.
Who's ever monitoring, they said they have Facebook problems and they're in Zoom now, and the Zoom link is in the Facebook page. So I don't know who's transferring it over.
Okay, so what should we do, Frank? Should everybody just get out?
Frank, you want to pull up the Zoom and just share it then?
Well, you can't be in 2 Zooms at once. The obstacle is the way. I think we might, how would we do that? Unless they're not live streaming it into any group then, is that correct?
Not
No.
right now. Oh, I see live on it now. I think their person in the back got it fixed. So
Okay, perfect.
yeah.
We embrace the obstacle as the way here, don't we?
They are now live on Facebook. She
Okay.
just announced.
They're live.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And then guys, we'll just use this chat, you know, so that's why we really wanted to
yeah.
do it this way, is that we could still be together and use the chat together for sharing takeaways and all of that. So let's see.
Okay, Frank, it's up now. That's what they're saying.
Before they're popping that in, Frank's gonna get us going in here. If you are not quite executive director, we invite you to go to the Facebook page and watch the video of Sunny and I.
Frank, we need you to unmute yourself so we can hear. Can you unmute yours? Oh, perfect. Not hearing it.
Frank, can you turn the volume up or?
All snuck in this room where you got on the FIB,
Perfect.
about the FIBC Facebook page. This is really not for you. And I'm going to invite you actually to not watch this because it's not appropriate for you. This is going to be pretty advanced stuff and you're just not going to be ready for it. In fact, we'll probably bore you to death. It might even confuse you, might even intimidate you. So I would prefer, if you're not if you've never ranked as ED or not an ED, then you may want to excuse yourself. First of all, I know everybody's anxious to want to learn this material, but you don't learn advanced algebra if you've never taken arithmetic, so not that that this equates to that, but you get the analogy, right?
Yeah, and I'll pop in for a second to say that is, one thing that I have, what keeps my fire going and it just continues to grow and grow is that every peak at a new level that I get to see, I'm just more enamored with the heart, the value, and just the integrity of our company. So I just want to edify that as a person that's like, no, I want to know all those things. If you are popping off, if you are, because, actually I won't say what I was going to say because I probably would have been a person that didn't pop off. But it is, actually I probably would have because of integrity, but I would have wanted to stay. I don't know. It would have been a 50-50 chance. But
Brad, I don't think you would.
I don't know, but we'll see here. It's the red hair, redhead in me. But what I wanted to say is that it is so important to just focus on the next steps, even for the new people, because I know we have so many new executive directors in here. We're going to talk about some big level things, and how you get there is by taking your next steps. A confused mind does nothing. So even if you are at that place, get to that executive director mark. It is the time of year where you can do that wherever you're at, and then come back and get the recording for this and get the next peak at your next peak.
Yeah, that is it. And also we do want to say that on the Monday night training in a couple weeks, the one that's after Dr. A's leadership call, there is going to be a training on fully understanding bucket number 1 on how to get to executive director by volume. So, anyway, Dan, I think we're ready to officially start. How about we start with introductions, because there's a lot of people on this call. And you probably would like to know who your presenters are today. So I'll go ahead and start with myself, and then Brad, and then Dan, and then we'll introduce Dan. So my name is Terry Miller. My husband David and I have been coaches with Optavia for almost 18 years, which is pretty exciting. We bought into this idea of creating freedom in our life and assisting other people create freedom in their life
the minute we had the opportunity to sit with Dr. Ray, Lori, and Dan and Mary. Their integrity for what is possible, and to because that's what we wanted to be attached to. Is it attached to this unbelievable mission of assisting America to healthy body and mind? It is, and that has been one of the greatest journeys of all. When I sat at Dan's feet and I learned about this KIC business plan, dang, I was stoked, I have to tell you. So it was kind of like, I was kind of like a kid in the candy store. Like, oh my gosh, we get to work with this amazing business model while serving so many families and working with the whole leadership team of mass integrity. Like, can you imagine that? Like, I seriously thought, David and I were like, we made a plan right then how to leave that chapter of our life and get into this chapter. And we have never looked back. So we're stoked. And for some of you that you don't know, Mr. Brad Miller, he is our son, and he got brought up in Optavia. He was 17 when Optavia came into our life. And it's been kind of fun, Brad, to watch your journey through this.
Yeah, I'll keep it short because I want to get into Dan in here today. But what I'll say is this is why you stay consistent. My parents shared this with me from the very beginning. I didn't really get it. And then they just kept staying consistent. They kept that relationship, obviously, because I'm their son. And then there became a point where I did need it. And I saw firsthand what was changing in their life, which is what drew me to this. And then what ultimately drew me to this was I actually got to hear Dan and Dr. Ray speak, and I got to hear the culture, and that I was like, these people are making this kind of change with this mission. I'm all in. And then I had two other points where I was all in, because I keep this picture of me and Dr. Ray behind me, because in case you're watching this, it's like, oh man, this is some pretty big picture stuff. I didn't think I could help one client when I started, but I followed the steps. I remember being blown away by in our second month of coaching where we hit executive director. I was blown away by that step. And then I've been blown away by what we've accomplished over time by just focusing on just rinsing and repeating and focusing on helping other people. So I could say a million things, but I'm just honestly honored to be with you all today. I just can't believe I get to be with so many amazing people on a Saturday morning.
And we want to set up Dan Bell well. Most of you probably know who he is, but Dan is the architect of our business model. And he's going to share some of his visions of what he had built other companies, other businesses, and other teams. And what he did is he took all those great things and brought them into here. And so he's going to be sharing some of those things with you. But one of the things that I love about Dan is he's always been in the trenches. He's there, he's been building this business from the get-go. And he's still, look at us, on a Saturday morning, he's still here for you. So you can understand what's in your mind. If you haven't, couple little funny things. If you haven't had the opportunity to sit with him, maybe with a glass of wine and some good music, he knows every amazing song. He's been to Woodstock. He's got a phenomenal sense of humor. And I affectionately refer to him as Uncle Dan because he's kind, and his wisdom that he will impart when people are ready to hear it is amazing, is interesting. And what I want to say is don't ever miss them, because he drops nuggets all over the place that later you're like, oh, that was really deep and really, really insightful. Dan, you're a good friend and we're honored to be on this journey with you. And Brad, anything else you want to say before we?
No, I want to give people the knowledge on it, because I got to say the same thing. I've just, the wisdom he's imparted into our lives, into our team is just, it's beyond just the business. It's life, because that's what we're focusing on is living an optimal life. And the knowledge of what we learned today applies to every area of our life, not just the lives we'll change and what we can grow with this. So I just want to hear Dan speak today. I don't know about you.
I do too. Let's go.
Well, thank you guys. And honestly, I chose you guys today to be on this presentation because of all the people I know in Optavia. You guys understand this as well as anybody, probably better than most, probably better than, there's a couple other people that might know this as well as you do. So, but I know this is kind of in your bailiwick and in your ballpark, and you guys love it. And so welcome everybody who is on this call today. And as we said, this is designed for executive directors in Op. And I mean, I can't tell you not to go off this call, but I think it's going to be over your head. It might be a waste of your time. For those of you that are really into this and you really want to understand the big picture, how to structure it, how to create a game plan, and what this is all about, you're in the right space today. And quite frankly, and I don't say this lightly, this presentation could change your life. It's changed the lives of a lot of people when they understood really what they had in their hands and how it worked, because there's a logic behind the way it works. We got a lot of things going for us in Optavia in terms of it being a really amazing business opportunity. And so it is a way to not only help people get healthy in all areas of their life, but also the financial component. So we're going to talk today. I'm going to show my slides. We're going to talk. Let me share my screen, and I gotta do that quick. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Terry, am I showing the right slide?
You are, Dan.
Okay, perfect. Great. Okay, so the name of this business or this presentation is Structuring Your Business for Equity and Wealth Creation. And so this is going to be very in-depth. It's going to be a little bit high level, but as an ED and up, you will learn something from this. Some of you are going to learn a lot from this if you stick with us today. So basically, who is this for? As I said, it's for EDs and up. And the purpose of this event is to share structure, strategies, game plans, and timelines to create Optavia businesses of various incomes. And I'm going to show you actually up to $1 million a year. Okay, but please don't call this the $1 million. Dan Bell showed us how to make $1 million. No, I'm going to show you the structure of what that type of business looks like. Okay.
Dan, I want to jump in there for a minute. And I think that's really important, what he just said. Dan, if you could actually, or Chris, if you could put Brad and I both on screen together too with Dan, is we have an amazing business model, but what we're doing is we're talking about lives that are going to be changed here, impacted. And because Optavia is growing at such a rapid pace, we'll get on the radar of things. And our job is to protect Optavia. So, don't, like Dan said, don't say, oh, I watched Dan's $1 million, how to make $1 million video. Let's not do that. Let's fly under the radar. Let's enjoy the great life that we're creating, but let's protect our company.
Yeah, and thank you, Terry. And I'm also going to cover that at the very end. There's some comments at the end. Time-wise today, you should be prepared for 90 minutes to 120 minutes. Now, normally we do our webinars within an hour. But what I find when we talk about compensation and structure is we tend to have to rush through it. I don't want to rush through it today. I want you guys to get it, okay? And so with that, here's the way you can get the most out of this, okay? First, clearly listen to what we're saying. Listen to stories in your head, listen. Take notes, because if you don't take notes, it's going to go in and you're going to retain tomorrow maybe 10%. If you take notes, you'll retain a lot more than that. Don't overthink it. Just take a deep breath. And honestly, if you follow along and pay close attention, you're going to get this. You're going to understand this. And it's going to empower you in a way maybe that you've not been empowered before. So I want to start out with a story just to kind of get things going and an illustration here. So here's the story. A man leaves home. He makes 3 left turns. And when he returns home, he finds masks waiting for him. One of them had been caught stealing earlier in the week. Now, the masks don't have anything to do with COVID. He finds 2 masked men when he returns home. What just happened? So I know, Terry, I went through this yesterday. Brad, what happened?
I'm trying to pay attention. I'm trying to watch it here.
Put in the chat. By the way, if you know the answer to this, don't put it in the chat. But if you're guessing, put it in the chat. What do you think's happening? What are they saying, Terry?
They already gave the answer.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
So what happened?
They gave the answer before you said, don't give the answer.
So the man was a baseball player. Now he left home plate. That's often referred to as home. The 2 men waiting for him were the umpire and the catcher, right? And earlier in a previous game, the catcher tried to steal second base and he was thrown out. So he was caught stealing. So the point of this riddle is don't be making up stories in your head and just stick to the logical progression of what happens, okay? And that's why I'm going to suggest that you pay attention. So it's a cute little riddle, and hopefully on a lighter side, today started off kind of interesting.
Yeah, and I would love to, I think that's important too, Dan, is that we make sure that we keep our mind open. But I also would guide you to kind of maybe have 2 pieces of paper to take notes. One on, I'm going to check with my mentor for clarity. Just like put a little note to yourself, and the other one, just keep taking copious notes and understand. And there are going to be 3 levels that you're going to be learning this thing. You're going to be at the very beginning, maybe you're a brand new executive director. You're just beginning to understand this amazing engine that you've found yourself in. And you're going to be like, wow, I don't really understand all that's going on, but I do understand that there's something grandiose here. Or you may be halfway into it and go, oh, now I understand. I think I might have moved faster if I really had understood what was what was handed to me. And now I know how to grow it faster. Or you may understand most of everything Dan is going to be sharing, and you're going to learn how to explain it better. So whatever seat you're sitting in, it's all good. You're ready here for the next, 100 minutes to move the knowledge forward.
Right. Well, thanks, Terry. And so let me give you the agenda. I'm actually going to have a break in here because we're going longer, and people usually need a bio break when they need to check on their kids. So after I get to the first section, we'll take a break. But we're going to review the kind of the financial reality in America, and you can look at where you stand in that. Then I'm going to review the comp plan, actually the theory of the comp plan, how it works, and how you can employ the comp plan to create both cash flow and wealth creation, because this is really about not just making money, it's about creating wealth today. Then we'll take a break. And then after the break, we're going to come back, and we're actually going to do I'm going to come off screen, and we're going to actually go through, and you're going to do it on a piece of paper at home, and you're going to figure out what the structure of the business you want to create looks like. So if you say, I want to make $10,000 a month in this business, we will show you what that structure is. And then we'll go back and you can say, okay, where do I need to be? When do I want to be there? Okay, where do I need to be? And we'll back it up depending on what the goal is. Where do I need to be in a year? Where do I need to be in 6 months? Where do I need to be in 3 months? And where do I need to be at the end of this month? So we'll show you how to do that. And then there'll be some final thoughts here that really around the goose that laid the golden egg. So first off, we're talking about healthy finances. And of course, we describe healthy finances in Optavia as having an abundant life. It's not so much how much money you make. Sometimes people use money as a measuring stick, but wealth is a lot more than just making money. And everybody has their own threshold for how much they need in life or what they want to create in life. It doesn't make somebody better than anybody else. But what money does is it gives you an opportunity to do a lot of things, have experiences, create security, and those kinds of have a good retirement, have experiences with your family, and those kinds of things. And so this is not about, well, you should be at this level or you should be looking at this much money. No, you should be actually doing what's important, what matters most to you in terms of the kind of income and lifestyle that you want. All I'm going to do today, and we're going to do today, is show you potential. What is the potential in the comp plan? Because in most things, people are restricted in terms of their income. Somebody else or something else controls their income, which controls every other aspect of their life, where they live, how much free time they have, their vacations, where the kids go to school, a car they drive, all those things are determined by that. And in Optavia, we have a vehicle that enables us actually to shoot for the stars. But we don't want to lose sight of the fact that we have this awesome mission, right? So we're going to talk about making money, but understand that money is simply a result of your positive involvement in the lives of other people. In other words, these two things are not mutually exclusive. You cannot become successful in a vacuum, okay? But I think the thing when we look at money is, some people, what they say, some people, okay, what is that? Some people, love money and use people. And some people use money and love people, right? There's a difference, right? Your results as a successful leader in Optavia, your ability to create legacy, your ability to create this ripple effect where you have long-term influence. The more people you influence, the more you're going to help the world, the more you're going to help these people. And as a result, you're going to be blessed. You're going to make money. So there's nothing wrong with having financial goals. That being said, since we're talking about compensation, understand that this is a basically you're an independent contractor. And there's no guarantees in this. You could be successful beyond your wild imagination and you could fail, okay? And that's not up to Optavia, that's up to you and your work ethic, okay? So there are no guarantees, but I think going in, if you're looking for guarantees, right? You're probably not gonna be that successful in life. You got to be willing to take some risks. You got to be willing to kind of get out of your comfort zone, stick your neck out and so forth. So we also know that in relation to our disclaimers, we've got the income disclosure statement and we have the Optavia compensation plan. So I'm just putting that up front so you know that, so that you understand, I'm not promising you anything. I'm just going to show you structure today. That's what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to start out by sharing some information with you about kind of the current financial reality in America. And so I want to make sure you understand some definitions here, okay? And sometimes people get the definition of median and average, they don't understand the difference, okay? So basically, technically, these are the definitions. The median is the middle number in a sorted list of numbers, okay? So if you had 11 numbers in an ascending order, number 6 would be the median number, right? Average is the arithmetic mean of a set of numbers. In other words, if you had a list of 11 different numbers, okay, and you wanted to find the average of those numbers, you would add them all together, divide by 11, and that would be the average, okay? So I just want to make sure you understand those differences, because when we look at the median individual income in the United States in 2020, this means half the people made more than this and half the people made less than this as individuals. It was $43,000 a year. That was the median. So understand, half of the people in the United States made less than $43,000 a year as an individual. When we look at the average income, well, the average income was higher than that. It was $62,500. Which tells you that there's a lot of people that make significant money, which raises that amount. But the median is still only 43. If we do this for household incomes, we find that the the median household income was about $62,000 a year. Half of American families are above that and half of them are below that. And if we look at the average is actually about almost 88,000. Because a lot of 2 income earners in the home and so forth. So those are just give you some guidelines of where people are today in the United States in terms of their income. Now, when we look at percentile, right? When we look at where do people rank in terms of percent of income, okay, 48% of individual Americans make more than $50,000, 48%. 15% make over 100,000. 1.8% make over 250,000, and 0.53% of individuals in the United States make over $500,000 a year. When we look at it from the standpoint of households, about a third of American households make over 100,000 a year, 10% make over 200,000 a year, 5% make over 270,000 a year, 1% make over 531,000 a year, and 0.2% make over $1 million a year. And this, what I want to show you is, because a lot of times people are stuck because they can't control their income. See, with Optavia, you have the ability to basically shoot for the stars, whatever it is that you want. Now, another definition I want to make sure people understand is the difference between cash flow and net worth. Now, cash flow has to do with how much income that you bring in every week or every 2 weeks or every month or every year, right? So People say, well, I make so much a month, or I earn so much every two, I get my paycheck's so much every 2 weeks. That is your cash flow. You take from that cash flow and you've got your expenses, right? And so you're going to pay out your expenses. Net worth is simply the amount that you own minus what you owe, okay? That's your net worth. When you add it all up and you take all your assets and you subtract all your liabilities, whatever is left, that is your net worth. So for example, if you own a $300,000 house, or you have a house worth $300,000 and you owe on it $100,000, your net worth would be $200,000. So the reason I point that out is because in the long scheme of things, you know, in Optavia, you can create both cash flow and equity and net worth. Okay, in the long scheme of things, and I'm not talking that long, but to create wealth, the name of the game is to develop equity. You want to create wealth, not just cash flow. Okay, you want to create wealth. And when you look at some other statistics here, this shows you American family net worth based on age. And if you look, you can see that this chart that the net worth of a 35 to 44-year-old individual is about, the average is about 168,000. That's what the average is. The median is 833,000, which again tells you that, you know, some people have enormous amount of net worth while others are really struggling. If you look at the 55 to 64 range, the average is 212 and the median is 1.1 million. So that leads me to the next thing. What is considered wealthy in this country? When somebody says, well, they're really wealthy. Okay, well, what's considered wealthy is a net worth of about 2.3 million, okay? And to be considered rich, it's about a net worth of about 1.1 million, okay? And so I thought these points would kind of give us a framework to kind of start our discussion on what you want to do.
Hi, Maria.
What we're going to do is we're going to go to our first poll, Chris, and we're going to show people, ask people this question. So Brad or Terry, want to take over here?
Sure. How much are you currently earning per month in Optavia? You know, a couple days ago, commissions were up for March. So what was your 15th deposit, your around the 15th day deposit, plus 15% of your other frontline volume? So approximately, what is it that you're earning in Optavia? 1,000 to 2,000?
Yeah, Terry, in case somebody snuck in and they're not an ED, please don't answer this poll. If you're not,
there you go. Yeah, if you're not yet, if you're not yet executive director, by chance you're in here, please don't answer the poll. But is your income somewhere between 1,000 to 2,000, 2 to 3, 3 to 5,000, 5,000 to 750,000, 7,500, excuse me, 7,500 to 10,000, 10,000 to 15,000, 15 to 25,000, and 25 to 50,000, and 50 to 83,333, which Dan's going to talk about that number, or over 83,333. So please go ahead and answer that in the poll. And while you're answering that, I do want to add something, Dan, if I may. When David and I started this, I was just about 40. And we were, in reality, I have to tell you, and some of you might be at this point, maybe you're smarter than we were playing keep up with the Joneses. We were making just over $100,000 a year. And I knew how to budget that well. Not very well, but to the best that I could. I didn't even know those numbers Dan was showing earlier. I didn't even know, I didn't understand equity. I didn't understand net worth. I didn't understand any of that. I didn't need to, because I was barely able to make sure I had $100 in my checking account so I didn't bounce checks. That was my frame of mind. If you're coming in at that frame of mind, I want to invite you to realize there is a whole another world that you can live in. It is This is going to add greatly to your healthy mind. All that other stuff just takes energy. Like, I am thankful to pay more in taxes than we ever made. I am like, it's all a shift of the mind. So I want to invite you to really realize if you're still in those earlier stages of coming from how most of the world knows things is normal, I want to invite you to today's world and your future.
Okay, thank you, Terry. And we're gonna pull those results up, not just yet, in just a minute. So, because I want to go to actually the next poll, okay, which is really kind of what is your desired outcome? What do you want to earn in Optavia? And Brad, why don't you take this one?
Perfect. So yes, like what's your desired outcome in Optavia over the next 2 to 5 years? A, $1 million a year, 83,333 a month. B, 500,000. You guys can see it. You guys can keep going down this. I don't have to repeat all the numbers, but as you're calculating that up, I just want to throw an extra invite out to that because I didn't understand any of this. This is just like when we think many of us probably started here to lose some weight and we didn't realize that we were going to start getting our mind healthy and our surroundings healthy. I want to invite you because this has greatly impacted our life in that respect. And I was living that way. I was following the same thing that my parents had showed me. And now it's a whole different way of doing things, which helps you create equity, which helps you ultimately, because money is just a resource to do good in this world, just like our time and our heart energy. So that's just what I want to add to that, why this is all being filled out.
Perfect, Brad. Thank you. So let me go to the next slide. And how to utilize the comp plan for cash flow and wealth creation. Now, here's the thing. There's a broad range of income opportunity in Optavia, all right? And so just understand you are not less than if you don't want more than. You're not less than if you don't want more than. What do I mean by that? Well, as I said earlier, there's no set amount for somebody to make. And you can always find people that are going to make less than you and more than you. But it's not about that. It's about what are your goals, right? And what do you want to accomplish? Because that's what's most important. So stop the comparative reality of comparing yourself to other people. That doesn't matter. What matters is what's important to you and how can this financial vehicle called Optavia bless your life and the lives of the people that matter most to you. So if we could bring up the results, Chris, of the first poll, I'd love to see what they are. Okay. So how much are you currently earning per month in Optavia? Okay, so let's take a look at that. 1 to 2,000, that's 12%. 2 to 3,000, that's 28%. 3 to 5,000, so we have 56% of people are making somewhere between 2 to 5,000 a month. Let's see, we've got so let's see, 7,500, 7%, 10,000, 4%, 15,000, 3%, 25,000, 2%. And we've got, let's see, 50 to 83. Nobody is on this one that's earning that. We've got a couple here that are making over $1 million a year, and so forth. So, okay. And these guys can't vote that are my hosts tonight. Just FYI. But they would be well beyond that bracket. Okay.
and I'll just jump in there and say, and thank you for that. You know.
Okay. And that's the point, is that don't make no mistake about this. I mean, whatever you're going, this is a powerful, tremendous financial vehicle, and because and a vehicle for not just cash flow, but wealth creation, which we're going to talk about. So in order for me and for us to kind of get into the workshop part of this, there's got to be a basic understanding of compensation. Don't freak out on this, because we've made it so simple for you to understand this. You're going to go, I didn't realize it was actually this simple. But I need to start with the basics. So we're going to start with the basics. We're going to hit you with another poll. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to be interested in this one. So who's taking this one?
I'm taking this one here. So poll number 3. What do we get paid to do? A, acquire clients using the 4 components and sponsoring coaches. B, acquiring and supporting clients, sponsoring and mentoring coaches, promoting the Habits of Health system and education and educating myself and others. C, acquiring and supporting clients, sponsoring and mentoring coaches, building teams of coaches. D, generating orders from personal clients, enrolled by non-executive director teams, and generation orders from clients and non-executive director teams within your organization based on how you structured your business. That was a fun one. E, promote the habit, the health system, the 4 components, and spread our mission to the world.
So if you could just take a minute to do those, you can only answer one of those. So pick out the one that you feel is most applicable. What's your understanding of what do you get paid to do?
Yeah, and this one's kind of like a full reading one, Dan. So while people, if they've already voted, this is the one I want to throw in. If I can impart any knowledge I have from today, it would be is one, or I have two main things as we kind of go into this, is one is inspect what you expect. You know, what you steward well will grow. I see a direct correlation to how people like take care of their income and know what it is, because how do you know what to give away and the benefit of what we have if you're not looking at it? And I looked at the poll and I'm like, it's one of my favorite things to do is when I share with new executive directors, because they don't know how to inspect how much they make. And they're usually like, oh, I made like, $1,200. I'm like, that was just your monthly bonus. And they're like, whoa, I didn't even calculate it at all. So knowing how much you get paid and taking care of it well is a huge thing, because I saw how many people said 1,000 to 2,000. And if you're in this room, I would say majority of you are going to be well over that. So that was something I noticed about the poll. But then also what I want to share with you guys today from my heart is the comparison game. It's just a path. Take your steps. I think I see over and over again the correlation to people that just live in gratitude and take action with clarity on their next step. I still remember saying to Ashley when we were coaching for about 9 months, and I remember saying, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. I have our health, we're helping people. If we never make another cent more than this, I will be happy. I literally said that. And I think that is the basis, because we just kept taking our next steps. We just kept focusing on this. We just kept following your advice, Dan, but we were grateful with no comparison to where we were at that time. We were grateful for every step we took.
See, and your intent was the proper intent, and that's why you guys have done so well. So let's take a look at the results. Chris, can you pull them up? Okay. So acquiring.
Dan, before we jump in there, for anybody that's on live, can you go ahead and jump into the Zoom? On the live screen in the chat, Chris has put the Zoom link in there. Can you go ahead and jump over to Zoom? Okay, go ahead, Dan, because there's about 175 people watching live.
So, okay, so 2%, I think acquiring clients and using the 4 components and sponsoring coaches. 25% acquiring and supporting clients, supporting mentoring coaches, promoting the Habits Health system, and educating myself and others. You know, this is like one of those, we know when you used to do what are those college boards? What was that test we had to take? I forgot now. But it's all these kind of close, they're close. Acquiring and supporting clients, sponsoring and mentoring coaches, building teams, 28% that it said that. Generating orders from personal clients, generating orders from clients enrolled by non-executive director teams, and generating orders from clients and executive director teams within your organization based on how you structured your business. And then that was 4%, and promote the Habits Health system, the 4 components, and spread the mission around the world. So I will tell you that 96% of you got it wrong. Now, if you answered number 3, well, I'll give you some credit on that one. You go, wait a minute, aren't these things important? I mean, isn't it promoting our mission and the Habits Health system and all, isn't that important? I mean, isn't that what we get paid to do? We're talking about what do you get paid to do to earn an income? And what you get paid to do to earn an income is you get paid for all the transactions that occur. Okay, you don't get paid until a client actually buys their fuels. Now, I know that may sound like, oh gosh, that's totally transactional, and it's outside of the whole mission and the feeling I have about loving people. And the answer is, we're talking about the economic driver of this business. And you only get paid when somebody actually purchases a fueling, okay? And so when we look at that, generating orders from personal clients, yes. Generating orders from clients enrolled by non-executive director teams, those are the coaches you've sponsored who are not yet ED, and the revenues they generate. And then generating orders from clients on executive director teams within your organization. That's your generation bonuses, and how much you get there is based on how you structure your business. So here's the takeaway from this. And it's a thing called income producing activities, or IPAs. You get paid. Now you might get psychic currency and the feeling of well-being and doing good by helping somebody lose 40 pounds and teaching them the habits of health, or not necessarily teaching them, but engaging them in the habits of health and the 4 component, the whole 9 yards. But what you get paid on, you don't get paid to watch a webinar, okay? And quite frankly, the payment that you get is when somebody places an order somewhere. So I just want you to understand that, because if you're looking at financial goals, which is what we are looking at, it has to do with revenue, guys. It has to do with revenue, okay? So there's only actually 3 things that we get paid on. Now I've done the abbreviation here. That's why I let you go with number 3. We get paid for acquiring and supporting clients. That's generating orders from that. We get paid for sponsoring and mentoring coaches who generate orders. And we get paid for building and leading teams of executive directors and higher. And obviously at their EDs, they're generating orders, okay? But again, the reality is you only get paid when a transaction occurs. So when we look at these 3 things that we're paid on, it has to do with the competencies, okay? There's 3 levels of engagement, right? We start as an Optavia coach. When we start sponsoring people, we become a business coach. And when we start developing executive directors, we become a business leader. So the competencies of each of these are very different. You learn them kind of in a progressive way. And one of the things that we affectionately look at is we talk about 3 buckets of money. I know that might sound crude to some of you, and maybe this is a little off-putting for you. Don't just listen, just have fun today. Basically what we're saying is there's 3 pools of money, all right? And you can access all 3 of them, all right? You know, if you're an ED and you're primarily earning your income from acquiring clients and supporting clients, you are now earning money from the first bucket, right? If you have no EDs, you're not earning any money from the third bucket. If you've sponsored some coaches who are not yet EDs, you're earning from the second bucket, okay? So we need to look at generating cash flow and building equity, and they're both embedded in this comp plan, okay? So in this next little section, I'm gonna talk about the philosophy of the comp plan and the theory behind the comp plan. Now, don't get freaked out by that. It's nothing complicated. It's just understanding the way this works, okay? So we have the ability to earn both cash flow and equity, and it's one of the things that makes us rather unique. In other words, if you're in the real estate business, right, and you sell a house, you get paid on the transaction, right? And you earn cash flow. But what's next? There's no equity in that. You just earn a commission, right? Or if you're a doctor and you took care of a patient, you earned an income when the patient or the insurance company paid you, but you didn't create any equity. There's no long-term tail to that, okay? In our model, you can do both. You can make cash flow and you can make equity. So out of the gate, in the short-term thinking that we have here, to create good cash flow, we ramp up the number of clients that we have. And that's why you can take somebody like Brad who goes ED in his 2nd month. Brad, how much did you earn at the end of your 2nd month? Just quickly.
Yeah, well, we started like with 8 days left in the previous month. So we actually made $2,700 in our 3rd month of coaching, and blew my mind.
Yep, $2,700 right out of the gate. And I'm assuming you probably did that with clients in the beginning, right?
Yeah, we had like 1 or 2 people that had joined us because we were just like having so much fun and sharing with people.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people on this call are. They're right there. So we know that if we get involved in team building and we start working with coaches and we start developing leaders, that the income tail there is a little bit slower at first, but then it accelerates to an exponential level, okay? And so when we overlay those two curves, that's what our business looks like, right? So this right in here is where a lot of people are able to jettison a job if they don't like it, right? Because they've replaced their income and now they're ready to accelerate their business beyond that, as long as they don't settle for good when they could have great, which happens sometimes. All right, now.
Yeah, and Dan, I want to jump in on this. This is the wisdom, if you could put the previous slide back. This is the wisdom of Dan. Like what we figured out right away, in most places in the United States, a couple $1,000s a month can seriously change options for people. Would you guys all agree? And immediately you can build to $2,000 a month in Optavia. And so you can wrap up and then you can start like, now I can really learn my craft and go offer it to many people. So I just really want you to pause and realize when Dan wrote this business model, he didn't just like, how can I stack the income or whatever? He thought about what was going on in the world. What do families need? What is going to help generations of people? It's going to help with parents being fully attentive in their life. These are the things I want you to realize, that it isn't about how much money you can make. It's about how you can create the life that is best for you, your family, and generations of families.
Thanks.
I want to keep Dan talking here, but one thing I want to throw in that I was really enamored with as I got started and kept moving forward more is that everything, I don't know how you did it, Dan, but you set an underlying structure that keeps the integrity of our company, keeps our mission focused, serves the right thing, because I just started coaching because I wanted to help people, because it was working for me and my family. And I've yet got to meet a lot of people from other companies, which is neither good nor bad, but they are always in awe of our entire offering. Like I've heard people from other companies say, like, you get paid this much as a starting person for helping this people. This is how it works. And I was just like, I just knew I was helping people. So it was all news to me how well you set us up to be mission focused, because when you do the right thing, it continues to grow and it can duplicate and ripple. And I just, just how you set it up is so brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Okay, so the power behind our business has to do with leverage. And you've seen this slide before. If you've been watching, I think I did this on a Monday night. But leverage is to use a quality or advantage to obtain a desired effect or result. It means using other people's talents, skills, contacts, abilities, and resources for mutual advantage. You see, our business model is a duplicable model, okay? And everybody gets an opportunity in our business. We have the same business plan, right? And the idea here is as you engage other people and you help them understand their basic competencies, learn how to build a business, they help people get healthy. Those people win, the coaches win, the business coaches win, the business leaders win. And so if you think about it, Dr. A, after he left traditional medicine as chief at Grandview Hospital, and he set out on this crazy mission, right? I mean, in a traditional way, somebody like that might say, well, I'm going to start a big clinic. Maybe I'll have this big fancy clinic in, Tucson or something like that, where people would fly in and I'll take care of them. He chose a different route, right? By himself, if he had done that, he would have only been able to help a few people, right? But with this model, you think about a couple million people now, more than that have been affected by this model. So that's the power of this. And it's not just for him, it's for everybody that's on this call today. So when we look at compensation, okay, what I want you to understand is from a very simplistic point of view. You don't have to worry about the math and the details right yet, because that all comes together in a very simple way. But think about the theory behind it. You start out as a health coach. You run to a senior coach as fast as you can. You run to executive director as fast as you can. And by the way, I don't care whether you do it by blended path or you do it by volume or you do it all by senior coach. It doesn't matter to me. You want to get to executive director as fast as possible, because the third step is that you're going to move to be creating teams of executive directors, which means that you'll become integrated in the process. Okay. So hit senior coach, reach executive director, develop teams of executive directors. okay? Terry, did you say you wanted to comment on that?
I do, because this is like, I know we've been talking a lot about the state of America and what's possible, but this is really how simple it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Get to executive director. Go help other people get to executive director. Okay. Like I know that sounds incredibly simple. Look, get to executive director and all the skill sets it takes to do that. And go find people who want that also and teach them how to do that. And then teach them how to teach others. That is how simple it is.
Right. And if you go to like the social proof pages and you see people that are earning, you know, 1,500 to say 4,000 or 5,000 a month, they're probably doing it because they've hit senior coach. They've not yet built teams. But when you see people making like over 10 grand a month, they're actively engaged, most of them. The vast majority are building teams, developing other executive directors and so forth, which when we get into the workshop part of this, we're going to show you how to do. Okay, so let's just quickly go through the comp plan and say, okay, there's 3 buckets of money. The first one is competency, you know, this is the competency bucket 1, income bucket 1, compensation for coaching clients. And we know that there, you know, you earn, you know, there's client, there's commissions and there's bonuses and all of that stuff. But, and then we've got a consistency bonus. But the reality is, and by the way, the consistency bonus is very simple. When you average, when you're over 2,000, okay, a month in frontline qualified volume, you're gonna, and you do that 3 months in a row, you gotta be over 2,000, you'll earn a consistency bonus. How much that consistency bonus is very simple. If your average over those 3 months is between 2,000 and 4,000, you get $250. If it's between 4,000 and 6,000, you get $500. And if you're over 6,000, you're going to get $1,000 consistency. So we could go into all the math and all of that stuff and try to work it out and get confused and say, oh, I can't do this because I'm not a math person. Or we could look at this chart. And basically in this chart, basically I'm assuming that all of you who are here today, who have a desire to create income, high income and wealth, you're going to be running at least 6,000 in frontline volume. So if you're running, so if we look at, okay, how many clients is that going to take? And you can see this is about a range, right? It could vary in here, but roughly this is about right. And this shows you what the frontline qualified volume, you're going to make 31% on that if you're certified. And so very simply, we can say, well, if I'm running 12,000 a month in frontline volume, I'm making about $4 grand, a little more than that. So let's quickly go into another poll. And by the way,
Yeah,
on this poll, if you are not an ED, okay, please do not respond to this because we want this again. This is supposed to be for EDs. Not. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, what is your, what frontline volume, frontline qualifying volume have you been running? What is your average? What is it that you normally run? And while you're all answering that, I wanted to talk about frontline qualifying volume for a minute. Dan, could you take it back one slide?
Back or
to that? Back to the previous one. To the incomes made from frontline volume. Okay. Is the first thing I want to say is frontline, Optavia is going to pay you 31% if your frontline volume is over 6,000. This is the way David and I kind of looked at it. If they were going to pay us, we were going to let them. We developed 20 clients in 20 days because 20 lives are going to change. But running high frontline volume is, you want to do it for a variety of reasons. The first is it ramps up your income and all those lives are being changed, impacted. And there's, if 60% of the world is overweight or obese, you're not lacking for potential clients. So much is available. But in reality, remember the name of the game, get to executive director, help other people get to executive director, and then teach other people how to help partner with other people. Running high frontline volume, you have the skill set now. You know how to do it. And let me tell you, you can't teach what you don't do. Okay, we're getting ready to have a retreat with 100 integrated nationals and above. And I asked on the average frontline volume for those integrated nationals and above. And it was 17,000, Dan, 17,000 frontline volume for integrated nationals and above. Because once you get this going, it's not like you have to, you know, create 20 new clients a month. We have sustainable long-term clients. So pro tip, if you're taking notes, which I'm sure you're taking massive notes, utilize bucket number one, not only for the income, but to build your teams and to the speed of trust of competency that your coaches will lean on you for. Oh, they can do it. They can teach me how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, Carrie. So, so here is, okay, so here's the results of poll number 4, okay? 9% are running under 6, 34% between 6 and 8, 16% between 8 and 10, 14% between 10 and 12, 12% between 12 and 15, 15 to 20, 10%, 25 to 30, 3%. Look at this. Okay, 25, 2%. That's pretty awesome. You know, so that is really, really fabulous. Okay, so okay, so what we want to do here is I wanted to go to this slide then. Why should someone run high qualified volume? You just mentioned some of it, Terry.
Yeah, it is. It's immediate cash flow. You know, that is the amazing part of the business model. Stability and sustainability of that. Those clients refer to you, you know, all that. An example to your coaches. Brad, what's your favorite part of this as you're working with your teams? What is the part that you like? I know all of this, but visit with us a little bit on that.
There's so many things about that. And I saw a few things in the chat there where people were like, I'm having a hard time getting over 6K. Is, you know, what you focus on grows. So, and it's all the next skill set. You use your support team, dial in those pieces. Cause I remember when I first hit 6,000, I didn't think that, I was like, oh, how do I do this? But luckily our support team helped us do that. There's so many reasons why I love it, is because when you get to that abundance point, it's like taking it from, you know, water boils at 212 degrees. It's like taking it from 211 to 212 degrees. You have so many more people getting healthy. You have referrals, you have more coach candidates, the income grows, and there's just this momentum effect. And I find that the secret piece that was for us when we got started was all those things. Like it's just a full funnel. It's got all those things going. It's got momentum for all of you guys that are sports people. It's like when you have momentum in the game you're playing. But I think one of the things that really also changes the game is that you have an abundant business. You're not even looking for that like client that needs to get started to hit your rank, because you already hit over 6,000 like on the 15th of the month. You look at all your clients purely as all, I mean, not that you wouldn't do this anyways, but it just throws another momentum place in your business. There's so many people getting healthy. There's so many things about it, but for me, it's when the flashpoint really changes in a business.
It is, Dan or Brad, when you're way over 10, you know, 15, when you're thinking, then you get to think of your clients as clients, not as volume. And it changes everything. And it is, but I will also say it starts with the decision. It starts with the decision. You know what? John Maxwell said, if you let somebody else set your goal, you're already in trouble. If you set your goal by the fact that at 6,000, they'll pay you 31%, you are letting somebody else set your goal. Make a decision, and then, and shocking, the people will show up when you do the work.
Absolutely. So moving on, let's look at what's the rule of thumb of when you're setting goals for income. Well, basically it's 31% of your frontline commission volume, not the frontline qualified volume, because the commission volume is generally higher, plus 333. What's 333? 333. Remember, if you're when you're over 6,000, every 3 months you get $1,000 consistency bonus. So when you look at it on a monthly basis, just prorate it. So if you were looking at, this is the income that I want to make per month, just take what's your revenue goal? How many clients do I want to support? What was my revenue goal in terms of frontline qualifying volume? Multiply that by 31% and add 333. and that'll give you that number. We're going to show you that on a worksheet in the second part of this. Okay, so let's go to the second bucket. The second bucket basically is income that you earn for on the revenues generated by non-executive director teams. So this is team building. And so the way it's set up, the first bucket is what you earn on clients. The second bucket is what you earn for team building on those coaches that are not yet executive directors, okay? Because the third bucket has to do with what you earn on executive director teams. So to make it simple, clients, first bucket, second bucket is non-executive directors, third bucket is executive directors. And so, you know, we've got, there's several different bonuses in here, okay? One of them is the FIBC bonus, which I'll get into in just a minute. But on basically, if you look at, you know, depending on your rank and depending on the rank of the coach that you have, you're going to earn a % on that volume, okay? And I'll show, and basically, if we look at it this way, for example, this chart, as an executive director, if you have a health coach that's not yet a senior coach, okay? So they might, let's say they have 2 orders, they have $800 in orders, okay? They're going to make 15% on that on their client support commission, and they're going to earn if they've got if they're certified, they're earning 18% on that. Okay, the company's going to pay you 12% of that because the theory is that in the beginning, when you're working with new coaches, you're investing more time with them, and as they gain competency, you're investing less time, but their revenues are growing, so your percentage of income is a little bit less. So, like for example, if we look at this. So here here you are as an executive director, you have a manager, the manager's got a senior coach. So the manager's got some clients, the senior coach has some clients, and what we look at that's a group. So you, as a manager, you're gonna earn 6% on all of the orders in that group. So we go, why is that? Here's your executive director, they're a manager, come over your 6%. So 6% on that group. So my rule of thumb on that is, for non-senior coach revenue, for coaches that are not yet senior coach, you earn about $100 per month on those types of orders. For senior coach to director, you're earning about $200 per month on those orders. And then you're also earning your a third of the FIBC bonus, because I'm assuming that as a leader, you're going to be over 6,000. You're obviously going to have more than 5 senior coaches. So you're qualifying for all that. Now, how did I come up with that crazy number? Well, because you say, wait a minute, if I've got Susie here and she has 1 client of $400 and I'm an ED and I'm making 12%, that's only $4,800. That's true. What if Susie has 3 clients and that volume is 1,000? Well, now you're making 120 on that group, right? Or what if Susie has a coach who has a coach, and this coach has a client, this coach has, and plus this has 2 clients actually. This coach has 2 clients and this coach has 1. None of them are senior coaches or higher. So that revenue is $1,800. You'd make $216. So it's Kentucky windage. You just, I'm just saying about average, just based on experience. For those types of teams, you make about $100. Now, where did I come up with the $200? Well, I look here at various ranks, right? And I'm looking at, you know, what's the revenue generated from them? How much money would you earn on them? And you can see some of them are less than 200. Some of them are more than 200. So again, I'm okay if you say, well, I'm going to use 100 and 150. I'm okay with that. But when I do my projections for income with people, I use $200 for anybody between senior coach and director, whatever that revenue is, $200. If they're under senior coach, $100. And then of course, there's also, you get, if you're as a FIBC, which means you're running at least 6,000, have like 5 senior coaches, you're certified, you got a group volume of over 15,000, which is about the average group volume of an executive director. You're going to get this $1,000 bonus. It's paid once every 3 months. So we prorate that at $33. So basically the way that I look at that is the rule of thumb on
total toe is actually good.
Director teams, $100 for those that are not senior coaches, $200 for senior coaches up until they hit ED, and then $33 a month. So we'll get into that when we get into the workshop. Let's go into the next one. The next one has to do with the third bucket. And by far, over time, the third bucket will be the largest. What happens over time in those buckets? In the beginning, the most of your income comes from the first one. And then as you start bringing on coaches and they're not yet EDs, you'll get some from the second. And then as you start developing EDs, you're going to get some from the third. But as you multiply the number of EDs, that volume, that revenue gets enormous. And so like 99 point some percent of my income comes from the third part of the plan, the back end of the plan, so to speak. So there's two types of bonuses. They're generation bonuses, meaning you get paid on generations of executive directors. And then there are these elite override bonuses, okay, that kick in when you're either national, global, or presidential. So most of you in here understand what your non-executive group volume or your generation zero volume is, because they're showing it to you as an ED in your back office. And basically the definition of a generation is this. It's all the volume generated by the executive director's frontline orders. So he's got coaches or clients, he's got clients, that's some revenue. And plus all of the volume generated by the coaches on their team that are not yet executive directors. So all of their client orders, right? So in reality, basically the way you look at it, in other words, all of the volume in an executive director's organization minus the volume of any EDs on his or her team. Because what happens as you build a business and you're developing senior coaches and so forth, you get somebody that decides they move on to executive director. When they become an executive director, they break away from you. And so this is their generation zero. They represent, that volume is your generation one, okay?
Dan, let me jump in for a minute because we got some questions going into the chat. Okay, so first of all, take a breath. Okay, so it's easier than some of us are making it. Your zero gen is your frontline volume, and the teams that you have down to
similar, Rosa.
First
real close.
ED. So it's not including your EDs. So if you have some senior coach teams who maybe have a manager on their team, it's all that volume. So just think like Dan's, actually, if you could go back a slide that showed it really well. That's your gen zero, okay? Once you, so it's you and all your teams that are not yet executive director, that's your gen zero, okay? And then your gen one starts with your first generation executive director, just like Dan here. Put a 22 in the chat if now you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. There we go.
Let me put it this way. So let's say Terry and David sponsored Brad and Ashley. At one time, Brad and Ashley were not yet EDs. Okay, when they became EDs, this was Brad's, his gen zero. This was Terry's gen one. Brad was Terry's gen one. Brad was Brian Drollinger's generation two. Brad was my generation three, or is, and Brad is Dr. A's generation four. Okay, because because every generation, I mean, so when Brad breaks an ED, okay, that ED has his gen zero as an ED. Brad's first generation, it would be Terry's second. Okay, now.
Yep. And the reason it's good to know, because the question is in here, Dan's going to show here in just a little bit how you're paid on your first generation, your second generation, your third, and depending upon your title or your rank is how many generations you get paid in depth. So that's coming up here soon, but I just really want everybody to remember, nothing we're saying is by chance. We're giving you tidbit of information that you do need to know to understand this. And it's very interesting to put all the pieces together. And again, remember, some of you are hearing this for the first time ever. You're like, whoa, I've already, already don't understand everything. Some of you are hearing it for the second or third time. You're like, get it now. I get it. Oh my gosh, I totally get it. And now some of you are understanding how to teach it.
So when you look at averages, okay, again, adding up all the numbers and dividing by the number of all the revenue divided by the number of executive directors, it's been since the beginning, since I tracked this 19 years ago, it's been about 15 to 17,000, and it stayed the same. So when Terry was talking about those leaders that are running 17,000 in frontline volume, and they got a whole slew of senior coaches and managers and so forth. And then they've got people that are coaches that are not yet senior coaches. Their generation might be 40,000, might be 50,000, might be 30,000, right? Now, brand new, if I break a brand new executive director and they're at $6,023, okay, their generation is 6,023. But the idea is to grow it. I mean, you just don't want to squeak over ED and stay there and kind of got it done. You want to grow it. So, and you grow it the two ways that you grow it, either by bringing on board clients or bringing on board coaches. So let's go to that chart that Terry was talking about. So generations bonuses are paid up to 6 generations in depth. Okay. So it's based on your rank. Okay. So if you're an ED with 1 to 2 EDs, you're going to earn 2.5% on somebody that breaks off as an ED. Now, if they break an ED, you're not going to earn anything on that unless you're integrated or unless you're national. And you earn 2.5% on that second ED in depth. When you become an integrated national, okay, then what happens is you get paid down 3 generations. When you become a global director, it's 4. When you become integrated global director, it's 5. Presidential is 5. That's non-integrated, but presidential is 5. Integrated presidential is 6. And notice as you go down in these percentages, as they get further from you, then the percentages go down. So when we look at working towards equity, this is a group I drew out that has 5, it's an integrated global, which means they get paid down through 5 generations. If there were EDs below here, they would not earn on those. Okay, so they're 5 wide of EDs, and then they've got some EDs in their group. There's a total of 40 EDs in their group. So let's look at each generation. So I use 16,000 as my number here. So if you add up 16, 16, 16, 16, and 16, that means on the first generation, there's a revenue of $80,000. You make 2.5%. They make 2.5% of that. Now, the reality, they're earning a global bonus and a national bonus on that. They're actually making 4%. But just on the generation bonus, it's 2.5%. So let's say those EDs break EDs, all right? So it goes from 5 to, what do we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. There's 144,000 on this generation, 9 times 16,000. You earn 2.5% on that, or that global does. Now in generation 3, I'm saying.
Actually, Dan, I want to pop in for a minute because this is the part, this is the duplication part. When you are creating your first generation executive directors, you are doing all the work with them. You're going hip to hip with them. You're teaching them everything. You're committed to that. You're committed to finding the right partners and doing that. Your second generation executive directors, your first generation is doing the majority of the work, but you're being paid the same. This is where the mass duplication works in. You're working with your first generation executive directors so you can teach them how to build their first generation. But in reality, it's your second generation and you're doing 50% of the work. Do you see, like, I just like put a 2 in the chat if you're like, oh, I just got that. And it builds exponentially like this if you dive in there and make sure the skill is transferred. Okay, keep going on the generations. This is where it gets pretty crazy, Dan.
So now we're going to generation 4. So generation 3 and 4 is at 2. And then on generation 5, it's 1.5%. So if you take all this revenue, which is 16,000 by the number of EDs on that generation, that gives it this number. And this is the percentage we earn on that. The generation bonus on that structure, on this structure, is $13,280 a month. Now we have to also remember there's elite bonuses that you get paid on executive director teams. And essentially the way the elite bonuses are, when you're national, it means you have 3 EDs, you get 0.5% on your overall business. When you're a global, you get another 0.5%, they override. And when you're presidential, you get another 0.5%. Now, how far does that go? Well, it goes down to the second person with that title in each leg. So conceivably, if you have a leg that's say 10 EDs in depth, but there are no globals and there are no nationals in there, if you're a global, you're going to make another 1%. You're going to get, in other words, you're going to get paid below your pay line. So if we look at this theoretical global, integrated global, they're going to earn the national bonus and they're going to earn the global bonus for 1%. They don't earn the presidential bonus because they're not there yet. So on that revenue, it's actually a little bit higher than that. I don't have the revenue. Oh no, that's right. So $604,000 in revenue. That's their elite bonuses plus their $13,280 on their ED generation bonuses. So they're making about 20 grand a month on the back end of the comp plan. And if we add all 3 components together, it's represented by the 3 buckets. Let's say they're running 12,000 in frontline volume. That's 4,000 a month. They have 5 ED legs, but in addition to develop 5 ED legs, let's say they have 8 active non-EDs at $100 per ED is 800. Let's say they have 7 senior coaches or higher outside of their EDs, because quite frankly, to be a global, you're going to have probably 10 to 15 senior coach or higher legs, of which 5 or more will be EDs. And then they got their pivot bonus of 333. We add all this up, that's 26 grand a month for that business, or $315,000 a year. Now, just to kind of move things on, because I want to take a break here in just a few minutes, but so, when you think about sharing Optavia with other people, Terry and Brad have been so clear on their intention of why they did this and what gives them joy, and it's really helping people. So if you help somebody become an executive director and they're running $20,000 a month in group qualified volume, just on their client, they're making 5 grand a month. They're making $60,000 a year. You've influenced somebody in their life to make $60,000 a year. Well, what does Optavia pay you on that? Well, they're going to pay you. I'm sorry, what they're going to pay them if they just stayed there over 10 years, they're making $600,000. If you help somebody become an integrated global director with 50 EDs on their team, they're making about 30 grand a month or 360,000 a year. You've helped that family, if they just stayed there, earn over 10 years, 3.6 million. If you help somebody become an integrated presidential director with 200 EDs in their pay line, they're making over 100,000 a month, about 1.3 million a year, or over 10 years, that's $13 million, okay? And that's what you've done for somebody else when you share this with other people and they get to select where they want to go. What do you earn on that? Well, if you're integrated national and you sponsor an ED that's running 20,000 a month in group qualified volume or group commission volume, you're going to earn 2.5% on the generation bonus on that ED, plus you're going to earn a 5% national bonus on that. So you're going to earn 3% of that business. You're going to make $600 a year for helping that person become an ED running 20,000. So over 10 years, your investment in that person has rewarded you by $72,000. Now, if you're integrated global and you sponsor another integrated global that has 50 EDs on their team and they're all within your pay line, that could equal roughly about $25,000 a month for you, or $300,000 a year on that leg, not on the whole business, just on that leg. So over 10 years, that person is worth $3 million to you. Now, they're making a lot more than that themselves, but they're worth $3 million to you. Not bad. It's a good exchange. It's a win-win. And then if you
Brad, so that's Dan, that's kind of cool. Like, not only do we get the blessing of Brad and Ashley and our grandchildren, you've also made us millions of dollars, Brad. Thank you. And you've made yourself millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I like to say about that, because I really, when I got the heart of this, is when it added like gasoline to the fire for me. There's so many things I want to say, but I love that everything you structure, Dan, is just repeating itself, and the integrity. Everyone that moves forward, wherever you're at, are people that just took the next steps and taught it to somebody else. There's no one that doesn't do the work. Everyone does the hard work that is earning this. And there's a bunch of things you put in there to keep incentivizing people to stay focused on being in the game, leading from the front, keeping our company doing the main thing that we do.
Right.
And I do want to say also, Terry, my mom, Terry, I always say Terry on Zooms, it really throws people off. But she says thank you to me. Thank you to her, and thank you to Dan. They spent the time and they earned all that money. Like, they can say thank you all day long, but I thank them. They are the ones that helped me get here, and they earned that money and they invested it. And because it's like investing time. You can go work for some money and get a paycheck, or you can spend it, or you can go invest it, reinvest it back, and that'll pay you dividends. And those dividends are not only income, but it's represented by lives change, which I think is pretty amazing.
Great for those comments. And I just want to throw the third one out here. You know, I mean, you guys are both integrated presidentials. Integrated presidential sponsoring, integrated presidential with 200 EDs on their team within your pay line. That's equal to 100,000 a month, or 1.2 million per year on that leg, just on that leg. So helping people become prosperous is really worth it. Can you imagine what it looks like if you had 10 legs like this?
And again, back to the simplicity. Build executive director, teach them how to build executive directors, and get that line up and going. Again, I think sometimes you look at the stadium view of what Dan showed you with all those executive directors, you're not working with them all individually. The name of the game is transfer the skill.
Right.
Find the people who want to lead their teams and teach them how to do it, and let them lead and help them make impact a lot of lives, earn a lot of income, and you now have the time freedom to go partner with somebody else.
Right. Right. So let's move on. Here's an important point to understand, that it's not the rank that produces the income. It's the rank plus the structure and the revenue that's in your pay line. So for example, you could have a national making more than a global, or a global making more than an integrated presidential, because it depends on how fat they've grown their organization. You know, we want skinny people, but fat organizations, right? So when you look at reaching global director, the rank for global directors, you got 5 EDs. Okay, and let's say that's all you had. Well, this is a shallow global, there's no EDs in depth. So even though the potential is there to earn down through 4 generations as a global, this person is not maximizing their income potential. So let's say they're running high frontline volume. They've got these 8 teams. Their business leader compensation, unlike the other example, which was like 13,800 or something, they're only making 1,000 on the back end of the plan because they haven't fattened it out yet. Now, if we go to presidential, the rank is 10 EDs wide. Doesn't say anything about EDs in depth. So if that person I just showed you went from global to presidential, but didn't break any EDs in depth, their income only goes up, $13,000 a year. So the whole point of this is you want to be not only developing frontline, but you're developing leaders in depth, teaching them the skills, finding people that want to be leaders, revealing to them what the potential of this is so they can go out and build a massive business. So I'm going to show you 2 scenarios, and it will probably intimidate some of you, and it'll blow the minds of some of the others of you, okay? But I'm going to show you 2 examples. I'm saying, okay, here's an integrated presidential. They have 230 EDs in their team. They have 10 frontline, 20 on the second line, 40 on the third line, 60 on the 4th generation, 60 on the 5th, and 40 on the 6th. You add up all of this revenue, their monthly generation bonus is 68 grand. And then if we factor in the 3 elite bonuses and the compensation for your business coach and client, business coach, not, you know, the non-ED income, and then your client income, this person's making well into 7 figures a year with a business like that. What if somebody has a huge organization? Not big, not large, but huge. Okay, I mean, huge, right? Big. Okay, and let's say they have 12 frontline EDs, 35 on their second level, 75 on their third generation, 150 on their fourth. And they've probably got some presidentials down in here, right? Maybe presidentials here, maybe some globals in here, nationals and so forth in here. 250 on their fifth, 400 EDs on their sixth. They've gone completely exponential. Their monthly generation bonus is 234,000, right? And if we add it up, this leader, okay, 234,000 doesn't include the 3 elite bonuses, which would probably wind up being somewhere around an additional 35 to 50,000 a month on a business like this. It doesn't include their client comp. It doesn't include their business coach compensation for their non-ED business. My estimate that this person is probably making over $4 million a year. So here's the next question for you. Is this really real? I mean, is this real? Is this just hype? Dan, are you just hyping us? Are coaches, are there coach businesses out there and incomes like, are those examples possible? Yes. Do some coaches earn this kind of money? Yes. Is it common? No, it's not common. In fact, of all of the people watching, very few of you will ever reach this type of business. Not because you can, but it's just work and it's staying true to the course. But if you develop leadership and you work on this duplication process that Terry and Brad have been talking about, keeping it simple, because we just keep doing the same thing over and over again. We don't, you know, we develop our leadership capabilities. We develop leaders in depth. We find people that have ambition and vision, okay? So is it possible? The answer is, of course it's possible. And the real question for you today is, could this really be possible for you? Now, of course, many of you say, well, I don't want to make that much money. You know, you got a zillion reasons why, and they're all valid and they're all good. Okay, your goals might be a little bit more modest, right? You might be saying, Dan, I'd just like to make $3 grand a month, or I'd like to make $5 grand a month or 10 grand a month. I would be in hog heaven if I made an extra $10,000 a month. And that's fine. Okay, that's fine. We'll show you how to do that. Okay. But you know, so there's a point where you can make money on your own, but after time, it's going to require you to get involved, roll up your sleeves, work with people in your organization that can grasp this vision and are willing to work. So we're coming up on the break. We're a little bit behind schedule here. But here's what I want you to really contemplate in the break. You see, the thing is that the business model is the same for everybody. You have the same business that Terry has, that Brad has, that I have, that Dr. A has. It's the same business model. It's the same business. Okay. The compensation is by nobody got a special deal. Okay. And that's kind of a sobering thought, because you say, okay, have I ever had an opportunity like this in my life before? For most of you, probably no. This is really quite remarkable of what it can do to help other people and help you. So I'm going to take a break, and we're way beyond schedule. And so we'll have to make an executive decision on part 2, whether we want to go with part 2 now, which I'm leaning towards, and keep this as a recording. And if you have to go, then you can go and come back and listen to it later. And maybe, Chris, maybe we can record part 2 as its own separate deal for people that have to go. But I'd kind of like to get through it today, have it all in one package so you can hear the theory and so forth on part 1. Part 2, we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to get into, I'm going to pull out a Word document, and we're
think Dan Freeze.
He must have froze. Yep. So so we're gonna go ahead and start our break now. And so it's gonna be 5 minutes. And clearly the answer is, Brad, will you text Dan? Clearly the answer is we're gonna keep going, but it is 9:35. We're gonna come back at 9:40. And we'll break the recording in two. I don't need to leave, so I'm gonna keep chatting here while Dan is doing that. And I just really want everybody to really realize that, what I would like everybody to realize is 100% about duplication. And I think Brad and I, let's chat on this for just a little bit. Ask yourself every aspect of it. Is my client support, my client development duplicatable? Is my client support duplicatable? Is my invite, when I'm working with my new coaches, could they do what I do? Am I personality driven or am I using a system? Brad, do you want to speak to that for a moment?
I mean, there's so many things I want to say, but honestly, I was thinking about this analogy as Dan was talking, because there is no secret. And I do have to say that gratitude is one of the biggest parts of it, because, you know, he showed you what's possible. The key is just stay in the course and just focusing on people. Like, that's just one thing, you know, Terry, my mom and I always talk about, just keep wanting to help people. Like, we're not even doing this for income anymore. Like, but it keeps growing because we keep staying focused and duplicating. I want to say, like, one of the things that I would encourage everyone here is, it's great to know what's possible. Hopefully it gives you a little bit more like confidence in where you're going, but this is an investment. You're investing into a ripple effect. And I like to think about it like this. I was having this analogy in my head, and I think I went with this because everyone has kids or was a kid or knows a kid. Think about a young kid stacking like logs, like they're cutting logs for a fire, they're stacking logs. And if they're doing it really slowly, maybe they don't have them efficiently set up, maybe their axe isn't sharpened. I mean, let's not say little kids, let's say like an older kid, because they shouldn't be playing with axes, but they're stacking it and it's going slow. And you are thankful that they're doing the chore for you and you're excited for them because they're getting it done. But you're like, they could be doing it so much faster. And anyone watching that isn't going to be able to go faster too. And then what if you taught them how to do it well and faster? Like it's going to get way more done. You can show people how to get it done. It makes a whole big difference in the process. I don't know if that makes sense, Terry, if I'm making sense. I saw Dad cutting wood the other day and I was like, if you only knew, like you might have just not known it could have gone faster, or that kid could have just not known it could have gone faster. But if you get your systems down, if you get some insight, then you can show other people how to do it. And it's way easier to go faster than to think around and do part of it here, part of it there.
It is. That's actually a really good analogy. And I think the reminder of like in the nature of this business model is, first of all, the finance engine that Dan's explaining is amazing. Though the nature of our mission is that we move forward in our health. That's very visual. People see it. Like when someone is shrinking, everybody around them is asking. So if you're one of those people who are a little timid on living out loud and speaking to the world and tell everybody what you have, develop a whole lot of clients and let the proof speak for itself. Like, just think about the brilliance of every little aspect of this. But I will say, please don't be timid. Too many people's lives are at stake. It's important that we share with everybody. And we've got just a couple more minutes before we come back off break. But I wanted to say that, like, when David and I got started, we $2,000 we knew would keep me home raising the boys, and God forbid I needed a full-time parent raising this child. Brad, that's funny. Okay, but we wanted to be full-time parents, and all I wanted to do, my heart and my passion, was to go find other mamas who wanted to be full-time parents. That was where my small thinking world was at that point. And that was easy. I could find 10 families who wanted that in their life. And then all of a sudden, and again, this was kind of where my world was going there, is then those mamas got healthy the bank account started climbing, the husbands went, whoa, hey, wow, our life is exponentially changing. I want what she has. And that is, and so just start small and then just start seeing it bigger. But I will say, double check everything you do. Like on Monday night, we had the leadership call on how to do your client support calls. Are your client support calls taking a half an hour? That's not duplicatable. Do you see what I'm saying? Like double check like if you're taking notes, pro tip, like in church, Brad didn't remember our minister, you're taking notes, write this down. If you're not taking notes, write this down, and it is, the thing is just double check everything you're doing. Is my health assessments taking an hour? You can get it done in 30, maybe 40 minutes, but like double check every aspect of everything you're doing. Do 98% of my clients start with the essential kit. Do you see what I'm saying? Like every little aspect. So Dan, we're coming up here on the 5 minutes. Interestingly enough, right at the 5-minute break, Dan's internet went down. So Dan, is your internet back up now?
You're so on fire, he must have fried his computer.
There he goes. Dan, can you answer in the text thread? Because you're, do you see how agile we are? Oh, Dan's gone again. So this is interesting. Maybe the world made a decision that we're doing part 2 on another Zoom. So we're going to wait for a couple more minutes to see what's going on. But, and again, actually, this is actually a really good analogy. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Things happen for a reason. Everything happens for us. So this 5-minute break was appropriate because not only we probably all needed a bio break, but we also need a mental break. And also to hear these little tips around all this.
Jerry, I don't know if you have it. Do you have the bucket slide? I know you are a big fan of that. You don't have it anywhere?
No, Dan had it on his slide.
Oh, he's back now.
Let's see if
Well, I hope I'm back. I lost my internet connection. I apologize.
So Dan,
So I'm on a secondary Wi-Fi signal, so hopefully it'll last. Where were we when I stopped talking?
Oh, we were just about ready to go into the workshop aspect. Okay, so Dan, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We did not. No, Dan, yes, we can, but why don't you turn off your camera?
Okay.
So that we have, and I want to see your gorgeous face, but there we go. Let's see if we can hear you better now.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
That's better. That is perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
So Dan, where you left off, you were just.
What?
You had not shared your last slide. So go ahead and take it away.
Okay, well, obviously we took the break. You know what? I think I might be able to do something. Hang on just a minute.
Okay, well, yeah.
Hang on. I have another solution. I think I can have another solution. Hold on.
And
can you still hear me?
One of the most important things to be able to move to this level that he's talking about. Notice how he's like, oh, my internet doesn't work. I'm giving up. He's agile, moving around. How can I do this? How can I?
Okay, so I'm going to be assaulted by a couple little granddaughters here in a little bit, but I'm going into another room, and I should be able to do this from here. So,
Dan, just 1 second while you're getting settled in. I think what Brad just said is vital. What do you allow to knock yourself off your game? Okay, go for it, Dan.
Okay,
Dan?
can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm gonna try this and turn my screen on. Can you see me now?
We got you.
Okay, so it's gonna be a little bit weird because I don't have my second screen, so I'm gonna have to play it by ear with this PowerPoint. So I'm gonna share my screen. And okay, well, hold on a second. There you go. Sorry, everybody. It's just, I live on an island and once in a blue moon, we have issues like this. So, but not bad, I live on an island. Okay, so what was the last slide you saw, Terry?
You were the one just before you were going to take a break.
And we have the same comp plan?
Yes, that one.
Okay. All right, I'm going to share now. So, okay, share. So this was the one?
Yes.
I know you're seeing this, but okay. So I'll go ahead. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. Hang on a second.
So the good news is while he's figuring that out, we've lost less than 5% of the people, Dan. They're still all hanging with us.
Okay, I just got to get, sorry, I'm gonna have to.
While Dan's getting this set up, I'll teach you the thing that matters most. While he's got a couple seconds, go reach out to somebody today. Go reach out, send someone go love on someone from your list. Go make that post. Go text one of your clients. Like, that's what makes the difference, is doing the hard work.
There you go. So, okay, what was happening is I was seeing, there we go. Okay, we're cooking with gas. All right, so now I'm going to share my screen. Rock and roll. There we go. Does that work?
There you go, Dan. You're good.
Okay, okay. Well, we can actually, so I don't know how far along you heard what I was talking about here, but actually it was really good. I was very disappointed.
Keep going.
I was very disappointed that it was, that you didn't hear what I had to say on this slide. But anyway, did you get this part that we got the same compliment?
Yep.
Okay, all right. And then we're supposed to take a break. And then what's going to happen is we're moving now to part 2. So this is about what do you want to create? Really, this is really where do we want to go with this today? What are we really trying to accomplish? So this is going to be more of a hands-on workshop. And Chris, I don't know, Chris, if you heard me or not, but maybe we make this as part 2 as 2 separate videos so we can kind of clean up the one where you lost me. All right, now. So first thing I want to talk about here is that you got to equip yourself to be successful. People that, develop significant incomes and equity in our business are very knowledgeable. And, most of you know that I did a training called Fundamental Skills Training, where we focused on mindset, motivation, and skill set, right? And I hear sometimes people say, well, you got to have the right mindset and skill set, and then you got to do the action. Well, there ain't gonna be any action if you don't have the right motivation. Sorry, guys. You gotta have the motivation. Motivation is the most important thing because motivation drives your ability to want to grow personally. Motivation drives your ability to want to gain the skill sets. Motivation is what gets you through the tough times, okay? Motivation, have to have motivation in order to move. People just don't want to take direction. They want to self-motivate or create self-direction. And they do that because when their dream is big enough, facts don't count. When the reasons to do it are bigger than the reasons not to do it, they do it. So when you're working with your mentorship team, check your motivation, your mindset, and your skill set. And let's take a look at your calendar. What are you doing? Because it's one thing to think about this, it's another thing to actually go about doing it. So remember, the objective here is to go from health coach to senior coach to executive director, develop teams of executive directors. Now, this is a screenshot you may want to take, and this is what's going to help us in our workshop. So the average order is about 300. The average frontline qualified volume per active health coach, this is per active coach is about 1,500 a month. The average frontline qualified volume for all coaches is about 1,000 because obviously we have some inactives, people that join and then they don't do much. and I've already said this, to go global, you're going to need about 10 to 15 senior coach teams. You're not going to do it with 5 senior coaches, guys, okay? And the average volume of an ED generation is somewhere between 15 to 18,000. Okay, rule of thumb for the average income in your as an executive over your pay line is either going to be $400, $450, or $500. You say, well, how did you arrive at that? Because some people say, well, when you break an ED, you make $500. No, as a baby global, that's about average. As a national, it's going to be less because you're not getting the global bonus. And at regional, it's going to be less because you're not getting the national or global elite bonuses. You're not getting it, okay? So, so that's why you want to look at those numbers. If you're, remember, when I come up with those numbers. So Brad, you got your calculator handy?
You know I do.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Am I still coming through okay? Can you hear my sound?
You're coming along great. Maybe you can't hear me.
Yeah, no, I can hear you. So as a global, you earn 4 generations, right? A baby global is going to have most of their EDs stacked in the front end. So you're going to earn, you're going to earn, and you're going to actually earn your 2.5%, and you're going to earn your national and global or elite bonuses. So it's about 3.5% on these two, 3% on this one. So I said to Kentucky Windage, I go, okay, so it's probably about 3.3%. So multiply 16,000 average group volume times 3.3%.
528.
Okay, so around 500, right? That's where I get that number. So we go back to integrated national. You're going to probably be earning because most of them are going to be up in the first 2 generations here. So it's probably 2.4% plus another 0.5%. 2.9 for the 0.5% is the national elite national bonus. So 2.9% times 16,000. What's that?
464.
So a little bit more.
I love that all your numbers are always underestimated, Dan. I love that about you.
So anyway, that just kind of gives you an idea where you get the funny math, right? And as a regional, integrated regional, you're going to make 2.5%. That's it on the first 2 generations. So what's 2.5% times 16,000?
400.
400. There you go. Okay, that's what I had. 400, 450, 500. So okay, cool. All right. In case for those of you that are wondering why am I regional, am I not making 500? Now, of course, if your EDs are running 20,000 a month or more, you're going to be more than that. Okay, I'm getting wonky on you. Okay. So people get overwhelmed. Sometimes they go, God, I don't know if I can do this and all this stuff. And because they're looking at numbers that seem astronomical, but the numbers are all driven by people. Okay. And I would rather look at people than a number. So in other words, to hit 6,000 frontline qualified volume, that's what, 17, 18, 19, 20 clients, somewhere in there. So it's easier to think about 6,000 seems like a lot. And 17, 18 clients, not so much. If I want to increase my group volume by 100,000, you think, oh, 100,000, that's 1.2 million a year. That seems like a lot. But if you help 6 people choose to go ED, and they're running an average of 15 to 16,000, well, 6 times 15,000 is 90,000. So you think in terms of, I don't need to look at so much of the numbers. I just need to find people that have a dream and a goal and a desire, right? And so when you think of 100 EDs, I showed that huge, massive example. You go, 100 EDs, oh gosh, I just want ED. It seems so hard for me to fathom I could develop 100 ED. Well, what you think about there is, well, I'm going to help some people go.
I love watching you learn the flair.
So people go integrated national, and all of a sudden you go, well, if I develop some leaders, 100 EDs, let's say I have, I don't know, a presidential, and I have 8 globals, and I've got 15 nationals. Well, that pretty much is going to add up to 100 EDs pretty quick. Okay. So here's our formula for calculating income. This is where we're going in our workshop. We're going to get our piece of paper. And since I'm in a different office now, I'll have to do it from here. We'll just ad lib it, but it's pretty simple, right? So there's 3 buckets of money. When you figure out how much money do you want to earn from this business, shooting an arrow into the future, the first thing is, well, how many clients do I want to support? Because the quickest way to ramp your income up is by adding more clients. So what do I feel comfortable with? And then we know that's 31%. If you're, and we're assuming you're all certified, plus a third of the $1,000 bonus is 333. So 31% of whatever your frontline commission volume is, plus 333 is what you're going to earn on that. So you're looking at your goal, you say, okay, how much do I have to develop from creating a team? And in some cases, like if it's this lower goal, it might be, I just want to go FIBC, right? But if you're looking at making a gap of, let's say you want to make $12,000 a month, and you say, I'm going to run 12,000 in frontline volume, which will get me about $4,000 of income. I got to make the next 8,000 somewhere from developing my team. So how many EDs am I going to have personally? How many EDs am I going to have in depth? And then to do that, how many people do I have to have sponsored? How many senior coach legs? Okay, that sounds complicated, but reality is it's not that complicated. So, well, let's take a look at, so I like this little piggy banks on the beach and enjoying the fruits of his labor. And so let's take a look at some incomes that we had in, it was poll number 2. Chris, if you can pull up poll number 2. Okay. Your desired OPTAVIA income in the next 2 to 5 years. Wow, a third of you want to make $1 million. That's pretty amazing. 15% want to make $500,000. 19% want to make $250,000. 16% want to make $15,000 a month. 13% want to make about $8,300 a month. Okay, so okay, good.
What's really great, Dan, about that, you can.
That's right. Okay. So we're going to do, what we'll do is we're going to, let's just take a couple. Let's take, how about we do one for 10,000 and one for 15,000. And then I'll show you some work that I did with some coaches on their goals without revealing their names. How's that? That work? You guys up for that? Yeah, okay. All right, so let me close this off. And I'll go to, okay, wait, that's the wrong one. Okay, so let's go back. And let me go back here. Oh, got to stop my share. That's what I got to do. Okay, so I'm going to use this little formula here. And now I've got to share with you again. So bear with me. It's just like we're doing a Zoom, you and me, which is a Zoom with us, right? Just the 2 of us, okay? And actually, and the Millers involved. Okay. So here we go. Share screen. Okay. Okay. So, Brad, you want to do this?
Brad had to step out for a quick second.
Okay, then Terry, you're going to do it.
Oh, wait, here he's back.
Okay. Okay, so let's say the income goal is 10. So here we go there. 10,000. Oops, 9. See, you're going to have to put up with my inability to type. 10,000 per month. Okay.
Do it.
Okay, so guys, in your experience, what rank is a person making 8, 9, 10,000 a month? What rank are they general?
Probably global or higher, some integrated nationals.
Integrated national, global or higher, right? Okay. If they're global, they're kind of a baby globe, right? So we could use global or we could use integrated national. It's all going to shake out. Anyway, okay. So, Brad, if this is person, let's say you are an ED.
Mm-hmm.
And first question I ask is, so Brad, how many people, okay, well, let's look at this. I'll say, okay, you want to go integrated national or you want to go global? We can go either. Which one do you want?
Either or, I mean, honestly.
Pick one.
Let's go integrated national because I'm not really stoked about, like, rank doesn't impress me. Impact
Okay,
does.
when do you want to get it done?
3 months from now.
Okay, well, we'll have to look at, okay, so, okay, well.
Oh, I'm
okay, so
an ED right now. I'm an ED right now. 6 months.
6 months.
We can actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the structure. That's the target, the structure. Then we're gonna look at breaking it down into its steps. And you set the timeline. We'll set the goal, you set the timeline, right? I've heard Terry say that 100 times, right? So, or something like that. So how many clients do you feel comfortable working with?
Well, that's kind of an open question because I'm an ED. I don't know how much is possible. So I would lean on you for that. But
it's not a goal. We're putting together, we're putting together an income goal.
Yeah, okay.
You want to make 10 grand a month. I'm trying to figure out how much do you want to make from client? Because right now, let's say you're doing 7,000 in frontline qualified volume.
I would say 40. I just wanted to model for everyone here is that when I was an ED, 40 clients seemed so undoable for me. But a few months later, we actually were. So let's say.
Well, you're setting a goal.
Yep.
Not just, even a broken clock is right, twice a day, right? You got to have a goal, right? Okay.
Yep.
So, okay, so we got 40 clients. Okay, so 40 clients is, let's assume that's about 12,000, I would guess, right? Let's say 12,000 in FQV. Okay, so what is 33% of that? 31% of 12,000.
3,720.
So that's $3,720, right? Plus
The 333, so it's 4,053.
okay, so that's 4,053. That's why I've got this nifty little table that you can just look at, but we're showing people how this. So it's 4,053. Okay. So that leaves us with $7,047. Looks like if is that right? 7,940. Yeah, 7,947. What's 6,000? Sorry, $6,947. 10,000 minus 4,053 is what? 6,900. I'm sorry, 5,947. 47. Okay. So actually, let me get out my calculator. So
it's 5,947, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 5,947, right? That was my math in my head. Okay. If we're looking to be a global, we want the or integrated national, then we got to divide by 450. If we're global, we divide by 500. Okay, you still want to go national or do you want to go global?
Let's go global.
Okay, I think I agree with you. So global, so we're going to divide that by 500. So that means we need about 12 EDs.
Yep.
Okay, in the total group. We change this. So that's if 12 EDs, right? So 12 EDs. The rank, I'm sorry. Told you that you don't need to be a rocket scientist. Global, I actually spelled it right. Good. All right, now. So we need about 12 ED. If we just had bucket 3, we could do this and we could say 12 ED. But in order to develop, to be a global, you need 5, 6 EDs frontline, right? Right?
Yep.
So you need at least 5 and maybe 6. But then you would need 6 from your team, right? But actually not, because you're going to earn money on the second bucket. So you're going to need fewer EDs. All right, so watch this. Let's assume, so to be global, how many senior coaches do we need to have?
Bash shows about 15.
How many did you have when you were in global?
I don't recommend it. 7.
7, okay. So I'd say 15 is on the outside, 10 is on the low side. So
Dan,
10, yeah.
in our 18 years of business, I watch this. I watch this. The average is 11 or 12.
Yeah.
The average.
I would say
So
so.
we
I would say
don't
about-
try.
Yep. About 12. Yeah. So 10 to 12, I say 10 to 15 to give us some, because sometimes you'll have an ED and people sit on, I'm sorry, senior coach, they'll sit on senior coaches hoping they'll go ED when they need to, you're putting them in the warming oven, right? While you're going to replace them with people that want to go ED right now. So, so we'll say that you're going to have a total of 12 senior coaches, right? So let's assume that you're going to be a baby global, so you'll have 5 EDs, right? So
Yep.
that means you're going to have 7 senior coaches outside of your EDs, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So in order to have, well, how many coaches will you have that are, or on this structure, if you have 12 senior coaches, 5 of them were EDs, how many non-EDs will you have that have orders?
How many not like in my organization? Or are you talking about the other ones?
Frontline. So in other words, frontline. So in other words, let me make it clear. So what I'm looking at, I'm trying to figure out how much you're making out of bucket 2. You've identified that you need 12 senior coach legs. In order to have 12 senior coach legs, how many people will you have sponsored?
36.
36 for you, okay. Terry, what would you say on that?
Probably double that.
Wow.
24.
Oh, 24. That's what I would put, 20 to 24, because what
Yeah,
I found is as you move up, you select better. So let's say you have 24 sponsored, and out of that, 12 are senior coach, what do we say? 12 are senior coaches or higher. So you have 12 other ones, and you're gonna have, how many out of that 12 will be inactive? 4? Okay, so would you guess 8? You have 8 that are kind of having some orders every now and then? Would that be fair?
That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
So your total frontline coaches, would we say are 24. We'll say the active coaches are 20. Out of that, you're going to have 7 senior coaches outside of your EDs. So if you have 7 senior coaches, and we use my little formula of 200, that means you'd earn 1,400.
Yep.
Okay. And then we'd have 8, right?
Yep.
Times 8 here. Okay. Because we said that, so that would be 800, right? So 800, oops, 800 plus 1,400 is 2,200 plus 333. So what's that? 2,200 plus 333 is 2,533. So that's 2,533. Okay, so let's add up.
We're at 7,486 now.
Okay, so we have to subtract 7,486 from 10,000. So what's that? You gonna show me?
Just,
Did you get that?
I
I can do it.
Yeah.
Is it? Okay, so we have 10,000. That's our goal. Subtract what? 7,000 what?
I cleared my calculator, sorry.
Well, it's 2533. It's 6533, 6586. 6586.
Yeah, so you have 3414 left to earn.
Yep, there you go. I did the math right. Now we'll go back and adjust this and we'll say 3514, all right, divided by 500 is 7. So if you have 5 EDs, total EDs in the group,
7.
it's 7. Oops, where did I just put that 7? Sorry. That was wrong. Those in the group equals 7. So here's your structure. In order to be at this $10,000 a month of income, you're going to be servicing about 40 clients. You're going to be generating $12,000 in revenue, and you'll make $4,000 there. You're going to be a global with 5 frontline EDs, and 2 of those EDs have an ED. And in order to create that business, you're going to have 7 senior coaches outside of your EDs. You're going to have 8 legs that are ordering without being senior coaches, and that you're going to earn about $2,500 there. Add that all up, that's 10 grand. Okay,
So actually, Dan, I want to pause for a minute. If somebody could write this in the chat. Actually, Brad, go ahead and write this out if you would, please, or somebody, doesn't matter. So what he's saying, to earn 10,000 in income, you're going to be working with about 40 clients.
Yep.
Okay, so Brad, if you'll write 40 clients, you'll have sponsored about 24 personally sponsored coaches.
Yep.
12 of them will be senior coach or higher. 5, you'll have 5 lines of business that are executive director or higher. And a total of 7 executive directors in your organization.
Right.
See how, like, when you like, oh, now I get it. So I'll type that out in the chat. Nobody type anything right now in the chat, so I'll put it all together there.
so let's go take a look at this one. All right, well, Terry, I wanted you to go, we could have Brad do it too, but the next one.
Terry, do you want to do the next one? I typed it in the chat.
Okay, yep, let's go.
Okay, so let's say the next one is what, 25,000 a month, 20,000 a month? What do you want to split?
Let's go 20,000.
Okay. That equals 20,000. That's the income goal per month. That's 240,000, 250,000 a year. That's a nice income. Okay, so we look at that. What rank is usually associated with about 20? Because it's not necessarily dependent on rank. Who is earning?
Dan,
$20,000?
you did your income. I don't know what screen you're on, but your income you didn't type in 20,000.
You're not seeing my screen?
Yeah, I am, but it doesn't say 20,000. It says 10,000.
I just put 20. I'm looking at 20,000.
Okay, then you know what? Pull your screen down and come back up because you were not on the same one.
Okay. Are we losing people or are they sticking with us?
They're sticking with us.
Oh, can you see it now?
Yep, there you go. Okay, great. So,
So generally,
stay with-
in your experience, what rank is associated with about 20,000? I can think of 1, 2,
global, probably global.
3.
A strong global.
A strong global, or an integrated global, or a presidential. But we'll use global. Let's use global as an example. Okay. All right. So, Terry, are you my guinea pig here?
I'm your guinea pig. Go for it.
Okay. So, how many clients do you feel like you want to support?
Still at that point, I'm going to go 40.
Okay, 40. Okay. And by the way, if you need to ramp, the more you do on frontline, the less you do in the back end. Right. So what I find is a lot, and you've seen this, Terry, I mean, you were talking about your leaders. If you're running 17,000 a month in frontline qualified volume, what's that, about 5,500, 6,000? What's 31% of 17,000? It's probably around 500.
Yeah, it's about 5,500.
5,500 bucks a month. Yeah, yeah. That's, I mean, that, so the more you do on the front end gives you cash flow. The more you do on the back end with coaches gives you equity. Okay. So client income, 40 clients, we said that was $12,000. And then we said 12,000 times 3 is what, times 31.
3720.
3720. And then this was, when you add the other, it was 5,000 something.
Yeah, it's the client income is 4,053.
4,053. Yep, 53. Okay.
So guys, what he's going to be showing you is 1 and 2 is still going to be about the same. It's going to be more executive directors and generations.
Right.
Yep.
So, okay. So when we look at this, we go, okay, all right, we got to come up with what? 15,047. Is that right? 20,000. Is that right? No, 16,000. 15,947 is what we have to come up with, right?
Yep.
So let's, okay, so we tell, in case people weren't tracking me on that, if you want to make 20,000 and you subtract out of it 4,053, you're seeing my calculator, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, we're not seeing your calculator.
Oh, okay, I thought you were saying, okay, that's 15,947, and we're going to divide that by, well, we're going to divide by 500. So that's about 32 EDs. So we know down here, 32 would be the high number, okay? But we're going to say, okay, so you want to be a global. How many EDs do you want to have at that level? Global movement to president?
Yeah, at this level, you're probably going to have 7 to 8 executive director lines.
Yeah. So we'll say, what do you want? Seven or eight? 8?
Yep. Let's go with 8.
Okay. So in order to have 8 EDs at that level in the business now, because you're going to, it's that initial addition of coaches that you got to get in there frontline to start being able to select who wants to do something. But how many, to have 8 EDs, how many senior coaches will you have outside of those EDs there?
16. It's not complicated. It is, even at this point in the game, Dan, with David and I, we have double the amount of senior coach lines that we have executive director lines.
Okay, we'll use 16 as the example. Okay. So we know that's going to be $3,200. Okay. And how many non-senior coaches will you have that have orders?
Probably 8.
Okay, so we'll put 8 there. Okay, so that will be 800. Oops, 800. Okay, so we've got senior coach legs, we said was 16. We said that you have total frontline coaches. We'll just forego that. We'll say you have 24 active coaches. Out of the 24 active coaches, 8 of them are not senior coaches. 8 of them are senior coaches, and 8 of them are EDs. Okay, tracking me on that?
Yep.
So if we add up, this is 3,200 plus 8 is 4,000 plus 333. So it's 43,33. So let's add up 4,053 and 4333. That's actually 8386. So 8386. So let's take our 20,000 minus 8386 equals 11,614.
Yep.
We're going to divide that by 500. That's per ED income. That's 23 EDs.
Yep.
So if you have 8 frontline, you need how many in your group? 15.
Yep.
Okay. So, and that income on that, which is, I'm sorry, it's 23, what's 23?
11,500.
Oh, that's 11,000, yes, so yeah, 11,500. So if we add them up, 11,005 plus 43 plus 40, what's that equal? 11,500 plus 8633.
Just over 20,000, 20,133.
Okay. Okay. So 20,133. So that's your structure. That's shooting the target into the future. And then we would ask the question is, when do we want to achieve that? Okay. So I'm going to show you, let me just show you a couple other ones. Okay. This was a goal, okay, of somebody that really aggressively wants to hit 10 grand a month. This
Okay,
is
so Dan, just a second. So let's pause here for a minute and recalculate this again too. So to earn 20,000 a month, you're going to be working with about 40 clients.
can you see my screen with that?
Yep, on the 20,000 a month, yes.
Yep.
You're gonna be working with about 40 clients.
Yep,
You will have sponsored, let's see, structure, frontline coaches. How many frontline coaches will you have sponsored?
well, I mean, at this level, skill level, it's probably taken fewer frontline coaches to get results because you're being a little pickier.
Yep, so probably close to 30.
Yeah.
Yep,
Or
Yep.
more, yeah, probably 30, yeah, 30, I would say 30 is pretty.
30,
accurate.
35, yeah, frontline,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll say 30, 33, how's that?
yeah. And 16 of those will be senior coach or higher.
Right,
You'll have 8 executive director lines.
right,
And in your total organization, you'll have about 23 executive directors.
yeah. So you look at this one, so maybe it looks like this, it might be you with ADDs. You might have a national that has 3, so 8
Mhm.
plus 3 is 11. You might have a regional over here that has 2. Okay, 12, 13. Then you might have the 2 others that each have 1, that's 15. So you start working with your teams to help them explore what they want, right? Help them achieve what they want, and that helps you achieve what you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dan, there's a little error there. It's 23 total in group. It's 15 outside of your front line. So down at the bottom. And income number 3, it's 23 total executive directors in group.
Total ED lines 8, total EDs in group is 23, that's right.
Yes, it's 23.
23.
So this is where, guys, I want you to just make sure we're putting the puzzle pieces together. When you develop your skill and you teach your skill and you find people who want to build their business, you could sponsor, someone like Brad, who has I think Brad, I think you're at 14 or 15 executive directors wide. And like, do you see how that works? You just want to find the right people.
Yep.
And just transfer the skill.
Right, yeah, so many people are so myopic, they're looking at themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, well, I lack this, I lack that. You get yourself out of your own way. Go find other talented people and inspire them instead of, you have to lead them. If you're going to build a team, you have to lead them. So you've got to develop that confidence, the transactional and the transformational skills, the people skills in order to do that.
And
Okay,
I do want to, Dan, I want to jump in on one more thing, just for clarity for the newer people on the line.
Yep.
Half of the executive director lines of business that David and I have, we didn't personally sponsor the executive director.
Right.
We found, so they maybe went to a manager, they sponsored a couple coaches and they were happy there. And then we found somebody in there who wanted to build a business. So that's what Dan's talking about. You're into all your clients, your coaches and your coaches' clients, they're all part of your potential.
Yep.
Build relationships and find out who wants what of this. It's about intrinsic motivation.
Exactly. So let me show, I've got 2 more things to show and then we'll wrap it up with a couple of slides, and thanks for, so this is one, a recent one that I did with somebody that wasn't quite executive director, has a high intensity to want to be earning 10,000 a month in a short period of time. When somebody says to me, they go, let's say they're not an ED yet, or they're an ED and they go, and they're making $2 grand a month. And they say, I want to make $10,000 by October. Well, that's possible, but that is a tall road. You got to.
Dan, we need to see the new screen. Can you bring down and pull it back up?
Okay, I don't know why that works. It's doing that. Okay. So stop share. Okay. So anyway, so to do that in this short period of time is a tough, it's doable, but it's all hands on deck. It's full force, it's pedal to the metal. Okay. So the first thing we looked at is, okay, what's their desired outcome? They wanted to serve 37 to 43 clients, which was equal to 12,000 K. And then when you add on that, the 333, it's 4,050, right? I just rounded it to 4,000, you know, when I was working with them. Okay, and then we figured out that they needed to be integrated national with 3 to 4 frontline EDs and 4 to 5 EDs in their depth. That's what it was going to take. So again, it's about 8 or 9 EDs in this example. And then this is what we figured what they needed to do outside. So then we said, okay, we got to work backwards. So on the front line, in March, their goal was to move to 4,500, add 5 new clients. In April, basically they were going to go to 6,000, in June 7,500, by October here. So that was basically, and then in order to pull this off, they got to get sponsoring like MAC, right? So, and this is very simple. This was just that, you know, we could have gone a lot more granular in this and gone into their map and everything, but looking at a big picture, to get to here, okay, to get to this goal in this period of time, their action plan was they needed 16 new frontline clients. That's 2 coaches a month, which is 2 explorers a week. And this basically, they were adding 5 new clients a month. That's how they got there. So 2 new coaches a month, 5 new clients a month, hammer down, keep doing it. That will move you into potentially this income. Okay, so that's just a way. And I'm going to show you one more. I'm going to show you the what it would look like to make $1 million a year, just what it looks like.
Okay, so Dan, pull your screen down and come back up. I don't know why it's doing that.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Now, all right. So here we go. Integrated. This was from somebody qualifying as integrated FIBC. The goal was, let's go for it. Let's make it happen. Let's just get down to it, right? So they want to make $1 million a year. Well, $1 million a year is $83,333 a month. Well, clearly, to make that kind of money, you're going to have to be an IPD, okay? And I filled this in later because we had to figure it out, right? How many clients are you comfortable working with? Okay, about 40. 12,000 frontline bonus to 4,500. Okay. Now you're going to have to make. So what's if you get out your calculator and say 83,333 minus 4,050? How much is that?
Just a second.
This is the last example. And then I got a couple important.
79,283.
69,283.
79.
Okay, 79. Okay, I see it. So divide that by 500.
158.
158 EDs, right?
Yep.
Okay, but to get so we figured, well, let's in 3 years from where you are right now, let's say you landed about 12 pretty solid EDs.
Executive, okay, just a second. Let's make sure we're saying the words right. 12 executive director lines of business.
Yes. Thank you, Terry. So to develop 12 executive lines of business, how many coaches will you have sponsored in the 3 years?
Probably at that point, you're going to be somewhere around 45 to 50.
Yeah, for this example, this person said, I'm willing to sponsor 60. So we said 60.
Dan, to the point David and I are at in our business,
yeah,
we have sponsored 82.
Okay.
Frontline people.
Yeah. I might be a little more than that. But
you're an overachiever.
No, I'm not. I'm slugged away. I'm not an overachiever, honestly. I just keep swinging back. That's
exactly. Dan, can you move the slide up just a little bit? People are wanting to take a screenshot and they can't read the bottom line. Can you just, or just minimize or full screen or whatever you want to do.
I'm doing it.
There, perfect.
Okay. So that's basically, but that's where we are, right? So we said 60, we said 40 will be active. They'll have 10 senior coaches outside of their 12 ED legs. And then of the, so that's 10 plus 12 is 22. And actually this should be, this is wrong. It should be 18. It should be 18 ordering non-senior coaches. So in reality it is 1,800, 3,800, 3,800 plus 333. How much is that?
Brad, are you calculating?
Sorry, I was responding to questions in the chat.
8,300 plus 333. Stop. 1,800, 3,800 plus 333 is how much? It's 3,800, 4,133. Is that right? In my head. Yeah.
I'm so sorry,
it's
Dan, I heard the number wrong.
2,000 plus 1,800 is 3,800 plus 333 is 4,133, right?
Yep.
Just verify.
4,133, yep.
And then now add 4,053 to it. Or yeah.
8186.
So 8186. So now we got to take 83,333 and subtract 8136. Is that what you said?
75,147.
75,147. Divide that by 500.
$150.
What?
150.
150. So you're going to have a whole total of 150 EDs. 12 of them are going to be frontline P or leg lines. And then we started looking at this, okay, we're going to have maybe 20 nationals in there. This is just projecting into the future. Start thinking about people who want to fill those roles. 10 globals and 3 presidentials. That'd be a nice little business there. That's $1 million business. I'm sorry, a year of income. So then we go, okay, let's move down to, if that's the goal in March of next 24, where do we want to be in 23? Well, we're going to have our frontline volume of this, right? Same as that, right? It's 3. And then we're going to have 40 coaches sponsored, 30 will be active, 10 will be senior coaches outside of EDs. We said by then, this person will be presidential, not integrated presidential, but presidential, because she can control to a degree how much frontline ED she has. And so we worked it out. So that's the step a year from now, okay? Or 2 years from now, or a year from now. Where does she want to be? She wants to be a global with 6 EDs, right? 30 coaches total sponsored. We figured it out. And in that scenario, thinking about of those 15 total EDs on her, on her team, 3 are regional, 1's a national. And then the goal in the next 6 months was to rank a regional with 2 EDs. It's already fibbing. She's actually integrated, it would be integrated regional. So that's how you do it, guys. You work backwards. Okay, now I know it might have been a little over the head for some people. The people that are getting it are probably just sucking it up. I mean, this is probably a learning for them. Would you agree?
I'd absolutely agree. And what I want to say to this also, because some people, I want to congratulate everyone that just kept going, even they're like, oh, it's a little bit over my head. It all soaks in. It all soaks in. So just focus on your next steps. You now know what's possible. When you stretch your mind, you start to find these a little bit sooner. It took me so long to learn, and David and Terry helped us with this, with raising up our first CDs, because they were doing it with us. And then you get faster at it, and you get faster at it. We had a few pop on their first last month. You just do, and that doesn't happen with everyone, but just think also that this is a flywheel effect. You're also getting better as you're doing this stuff, and it grows and the ripple effect grows. So it just changes your course of where you're going and you find things faster.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Wait, I want to add, Dan, I want to add one more thing because this
Okay.
seems to be the confusion a little bit in the chat.
Yeah.
Once you get your base of your business, you just start working in depth. You know, like people are surprised that David and I have only sponsored 83 people. And we did the majority of that on the first 10 years.
Yeah.
Because now we just went in and got thick. We went in and found the partners who want to create, you know, we have 2,000 executive directors in our organization and just in our pay line.
Yeah.
So that so we went in there and helped, you know, partner with Brad and Ashley so they could build the 500 executive directors in their organization.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So the work shifts. Get your base. And then when you meet really great people, so now like when David and I personally sponsor someone, they go executive director right away. We know who we're looking for.
Yep, exactly.
At the beginning, it wasn't so. We had to sponsor 22, 24 people to get to presidential.
Yeah, you're learning.
Or to global.
You're learning away. Let's do another poll, okay?
The final poll, okay?
Okay.
And then we should probably land the plane.
Well, yeah, I've got a few more slides that are important. I want to say. So if we can put up poll number 5, Chris, if you're still there. Now, and this is just from well, I'll tell you why I'm doing this, okay? So who wants to, Terry or Brad?
So I'll read it. So are you currently earning $1 million a year? Is your net worth currently over 1 million a year? And are you intimidated by the thought of possibly earning 1 million a year? Are you excited that the business plan enables someone to create wealth, 1 million or more a year? And outside of Optavia, have you ever had, or do you have another financial vehicle that can allow you to earn over 1 million a year? Has anyone ever shown you how to earn 1 million a year?
Well, I just did, but outside of that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys could do that quick, we'll kind of get moving on and kind of land the plane here. So we'll give you another, there we go. So, okay. Nobody is making $1 million in this.
Well, that's because we couldn't answer. Well, I know they're, yeah.
Yeah, well, we may have lost some of the IPD stuff.
Yeah.
Or because your net worth over $1 million. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
That's cool. Are you intimidated by the thought? Yes. No. That's good. I like to know. Are you excited? Well, 100% of people are excited. I would say if you stayed on this long, you're excited, right? Have you ever had, or do you have another financial vehicle that'll help you make over $1 million? 9% do, but 91 don't. Has anyone ever shown you how? 12% had somebody shown how, and 88% not. So the reason I wanted to put this up here is just to understand how unique what we have is. Because most people don't have this opportunity. Most people in this life kind of scrape by. They live from paycheck to paycheck. That's what we look at the median income. That's why I showed that. I mean, it's pretty dismal for a lot of people. Half the people in this country, half the families make less than $60,000 a year, 62,000. And so here you are, you landed in a spot for whatever reason, and you've got this incredible opportunity. So let me just kind of land the plane here. I want to talk about a couple important things, and just hang in there with me. It's not going to be much longer. And this is what happens as you grow. You're an ED now. There's some things that you want to make sure that you do, and there's some dumb things that you don't want to do. So one of the things is you have to be a good steward of your money. You want to be smart about it. And you don't want to wait. You want to be saving money and doing some investing, even if it's a little bit, if you're really low in terms of if your income is in this mega income range. But the thing I find sometimes is people make more money, they end up just being broke at a higher level. They end up spending what they earn. That's the last thing you want to do. The name of the game is equity. It's creating wealth, right? And sometimes people get impatient, they get anxious, they see a new car, and they go, well, I can afford that car, and they put it on a payment schedule, or they overextend for a house. I'll tell you, there's always going to be another car, and there's always going to be another house. And what you want is you want to be out of debt. You want to have peace of mind. And the only, from my vantage point, the only credible debt anybody should take on is equity debt, like on a house payment. But again, you don't want to overextend it. You do not want to get into credit card debt. You want to pay your credit cards off monthly, because this, again, we're playing the long game here. Let's create wealth. Let's put you in the position where you have a net worth and you're a multimillionaire. That's possible in Optavia. Most things, people spend what they earn and they don't have that opportunity. That's why we have a financial crisis right now, because a lot of people haven't prepared and they're just right on the precipice. This gives you, I mean, this is for people that want to retire. A lot of the baby boomers right now, you see them, they're 75 years old working in Walmart. And, oh, I want to work because I want to spend, I want to do something productive. Well, that may be true, but a lot of them, you see somebody at 11:30 night in a toll booth and they're 72 years old, and you go, what happened, right? So be smart about your money, okay? Now, this is an important one here because this has to do with, as you start to make more money, if you're right now earning an income from a job, and you start making $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000 a month in your business, you better start paying quarterly IRS estimates. Otherwise, you're going to be surprised on April 15th or this year, May 15th, you go, oh my gosh, I owe a lot of money. You want to not commingle your funds. You want to keep separate checking accounts and credit cards if you can. This helps you with your accounting. Don't try to do your taxes on your own. There's a lot of benefits of being in your own home-based business. Do you get your taxes done professionally? All right. And then just another tip, do airline tickets. Your airline credit cards, so that you can be assembling, miles. You buy something, you get miles. So when you want to go to convention or whatever, or you want to use your miles as an incentive as you grow bigger in the business and send somebody to convention, you've got, it's kind of like a little equity that you produce there. Just a tip. Okay, now, how do you maximize your income? Okay, so this is an important slide here. So obviously we talked about this. You increase your frontline qualified volume because that will give you an immediate shot of income. You want to obviously become fully integrated. That's not in your health as well as your business. Run at least, well over 6,000. We're talking 8 to 10,000 is comfortable. Go beyond that if you want to make more money. And then we talked about the reasons to do that. But also, don't just get fixated on 5 senior coaches. As you can see, if you want to move on to global presidential, you're going to need more senior coaches, because otherwise you could put people in an awkward position. They're not ready to go ED, and you want people that are ready to go now. So some people are ready to go. Some will go later. Some will never go. Some need to marinate. Just, what you want, you take what you get till you find what you need. Okay. You want to demonstrate a culture of sponsoring by bringing on new coaches personally and into your organization. So some of you make a really good income, a really nice income compared to the rest of the United States. But I look at your business and I see the amount of volume you're running through your business. And then I see just a pittance of the number of new coaches coming in. Well, that's not going to create momentum for you. What will create momentum for you and get you to the bigger incomes is you got to become a sponsoring machine, and you got to teach people how to sponsor. And that's why the skill sets that we talked about is to keep it simple and to keep it duplicable, because that's where you want to go. And the last thing I want to say is respect the goose, because this goose has laid some really golden eggs. And so you want to make sure you protect not only yourself, but you protect the enterprise, you protect the company. And that's what Terry was talking about in the beginning, and I mentioned in the beginning, is you don't go doing stupid stuff like, like, for example, if you showed this presentation to a prospect, that would be totally inappropriate, okay? Because they're not in the business, okay? We don't want to give people the impression that, this is all about making money and all of that sort of thing. You want to stay compliant. You don't want to get yourself, you want to make sure you're using the right disclaimers when you do your post, your before and after pictures. You want to make sure you stay within the policies, because the last thing you want to do is lose your opportunity, okay? And then when we say steward the culture, remember we're all in this together, right? And so we want to make sure that that we do the right thing. We have the right culture out there. And our culture is one of empathy and support, helping people. Our culture is not one of get rich quick scheme, even though I showed you actually how to get rich relatively quickly. It's just the way the business is structured. You can go wherever you want to go, but keep our culture about empathy, about support, about helping other people in their lives. Like Zig Ziglar always said, if you help enough other people get what they want, you will get what you want. So that is really, really the key. And Terry, Brad, do you have any closing comments as we finish up here today?
I have one closing comment, just really to your last part that you were saying, and then I want to add one more thing, is respecting the golden goose, that aspect, but in reality, you're respecting each other. This is everything David and I do, anything we post on social media, anything, how I behave out in public, any of that, that is all for you. When you are representing Optavia, you're representing your friends, your partners, you know, all those people. So those are things to consider. But really, in real closing, Dan, thank you for using your God-given talents, gifts, brain, and pouring into us. Thank you for inventing this, for creating it, and staying the distance. Guys, Dan doesn't need to stay here. You have to remember, part of our business model he started is a legacy piece. If Dan wants to go right off into the sunset and let his grandchildren climb all over him and never work another day in his life, he doesn't need to, and his income stays going. But I want to thank you, because just what he was saying, we're about empathy. We're about building and supporting other people. He stays here for you. And I just really, you took, a couple hours, 3 hours here on a Saturday morning, but guys, this probably took him 40 hours to plan for you. So I just really want to really, really, really thank you. And let's go out and do that for others.
Thanks, Terry. Appreciate that, Terry. Brad, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I have a million things I want to say, but I just want to say thank you, Dan. I want to thank everyone here because it's what we do. And I just got to speak to that is as we all go through this is what creates momentum for all of us chipping in. We're all making a difference in the world. So I would just encourage you guys to dream big, get really clear on what it is you want, take your next steps, stay close with your support team. You don't have to know how to get to all these things, although Dan laid it out really quickly, are really simply there for you. You just have to take your next steps. Just take your next steps. Stay close with your support team, get that fire going, and then just help people. That's really all this is about. And you'll be amazed by what you can create over time. It'll blow your mind. And the last and final thing I want to say here is never be done learning, because either you're reaffirming some of these things. What Dan just taught us today is not only about a business, but once I've learned more about life and this stuff, he just taught us massive wealth of knowledge that applies to every area of life. So Dan, thank you so much for just constantly giving for free. It's part of what we do, and it makes me stay in it, because it's the people like you, it's the people like everyone on here today, hungry to change lives, grow, that makes all the difference. So thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Dan, I'm going to repeat Dominic Taranelli. I remember this. Dominic and Rita Taranelli, people you personally sponsored, came in to Optavia about the same time David and I did. And he said this, because I think he understood this a little bit better than I did at the beginning. People will overestimate what you can earn in a year and completely underestimate what you can in 5. And that has been true again and again and again. And get your foundation. And all that other great little Danism stuff he just gave you about don't go buy that fancy car, or just keep your head down. David and I sold our BMW when we partnered and drove a Ford Focus, Dan. It didn't even have power windows. We drove a Ford Focus, and later, as I'm telling the story, we focused until we hit integrated presidential. We didn't change. We kept that car and just didn't even worry about that aspect. We built our foundation. You do those things. Again, your business coaches will guide you on that. You will set yourself up and the legacy of this for years and generations to come.
Well, guys, first off, thank you both. I would not have wanted to do this event with anybody else than the two of you. And I say that sincerely because you guys are really into it. I love the insights that you brought in, the synergy that came from this event. Hopefully people got a lot out of it. Hopefully some light bulbs came off in their mind. I want to also thank the people that hung in there with us. And I'm looking at, there's like 650 people, some still on board after all this time today. That tells me a lot about those people. That tells me they're hungry and they're wanting to learn. And, I know some of them had to get off because they planned for 90 minutes or 2 hours. And I got messed up with my internet there for a while. But I think this was a pretty comprehensive overview of what the opportunity is in a detailed way that, when people come on the Path to FIBC and beyond, they'll be able to learn it. So just wishing you all a great, and thanks, Chris, for you behind the scenes. Appreciate it. It's went a lot longer than we thought, but I didn't want to rush it today. I was willing to stay the course until we got the job done today. Otherwise, you leave too many questions for people. We were able to clarify those questions for y'all and so forth. So looking forward to seeing you at convention, guys. And looking forward to seeing a lot of people in this group move beyond just cash flow, but really move into wealth creation, creating legacy, creating residual income for themselves and their families, and having a phenomenal life that can bless a lot of people. So with that, we'll say goodbye to everybody. You guys have a great afternoon, great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Awesome, guys. Great call. I would definitely recommend. There's so much gold in what we all heard today. Like, oh my gosh, are you guys, your minds? And I know messages have been flying back and forth. My biggest recommendation for you is just connect with your support team if you've got questions, and you just take the course. Like the screenshots, they're going through all these numbers and all those things. Just, you probably took screenshots of them. Just use them as guidelines. That's all it is. Don't feel like you need to dive in and understand every single thing. We're looking for progress, not perfection. So anyway, just let it all soak in. It's all recorded and you guys get to go back and re-listen. But wow, just really, truly understand how possible this is for each and every one of you guys. It is. Okay, so you just need to make that decision and stay the course and just do the time and just become a really, really great student of mastering this craft. So anyways, awesome spending time with you all. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, everyone. Bye.